Boys, can you hear me? Great, awesome. Right, we are 8:30. All right, so we're going to crack straight on with the guys that we got here. So the idea of this workshop is really to talk about like what's next, okay, in the direction that you're heading. Whether you're joining the mastermind or whether you're just cracking on by yourself. I wanted to talk about the 90-day idea and the 90-day plan. Okay. In theory, most of you probably have done the 5 days. Then we've done the 28 days. And then we're kind of moving on to a 90-day kind of plan for yourself. Now, one of the reasons that this is so important, guys, is that if you don't have a time measurement, to be able to measure your outcomes over a period of time, you're going to end up going back into that cluster fuck type of area. Okay, so that's that area where there are no clear, concise goals. There are no clear, concise visions, outcomes. You suddenly just go to trying to live your life with, again, no endpoint, right? So when you join the 28 days, one of the questions that I asked you at the very start is, where do you want to be at the end of those 28 days, right? So that was a point that you had visualized in your head about where you'd like to be by the end of next week. The same ideals apply for these 90 days. So next Monday week, that's it. We're at the program. Some of you are coming on board with the mastermind. Some of you are going off by yourself. The question you have to ask yourself is, where do you want to be at the end of the 90 days? Okay, so over the 4 pillars, you have to kind of look at this and keep it simple, because I think some of you were definitely overthinking this process and overthinking this. I've got to achieve this or that and the other. Remember, you are still at a very early stage of your own personal development and self-learning. All right. So you've got to be able to match your conditioning about where you are right now versus your expectations. Okay. So sometimes what can happen is that you finish the 28 day and then suddenly you think, right, I'm going to go and achieve the world. And again, you've probably just made those expectations a little bit too much for yourself and you end up getting annoyed and slipping. So when it comes to, one of the things that I would always advise people to do once they finish the 28 day, because it's the one thing that I always see after every 28 day, whether you're signing up for the mastermind or whether you're going on by yourself, is the fact that people lose that spark and their edge after the 28 days. Okay. You have to make sure that you have complete clarity over those 90 days. Now, how we can keep that sharp and that spark is by having checkpoints between day 0 and day 90. Now, there's going to be checkpoint 1 is going to be after the first 4 weeks. Checkpoint 2 is going to be your 8-week mark. And then obviously your final outcome will be the 12 weeks. Okay, 90 days, 12 weeks. And what we have to do is kind of work to reverse engineer what you want to achieve over those 90 days. All right. So what we can do, if we just use an example of, let's say you wanted to lose 2 stone, just for argument's sake, okay, or you wanted to run 10 miles by the end of those 90 days. What you would do is then reverse engineer, figuring out how many miles you need to be running a week or how much weight you need to be losing a week. And then those checkpoints are check-ins for you to make sure that you are meeting your targets in terms of reaching the outcome. If you don't have those checkpoints, 90 days away is a long time to suddenly go from 0 to 90 and not have the end result. Okay, we've got to make sure that we're on track. It's the same with any type of thing that you might do. You're trying to meet targets along the way. You're trying to self-evaluate yourself. Doing the life audit will help. Checking in on how you're progressing will help. Being honest with yourself will help over that period of time. Okay. So when you make these goals, the first 90 days after coming out the 28-day program, you really want to be focused on just cementing every single thing that you've learned before trying to move on to anything else. Now, repetition, okay, is what creates routine. Lots of routine creates structure, and structure equals outcome. You've only been doing this 28 days. It probably feels like you've been doing this a lot longer, okay, but it only takes between 2 and 7 days before you end up going straight back to the way you were. Now, one of the things that we've been doing this many years now. And one of the emails I tend to get from people who have done this course and they go on to do it by themselves is that after a week, they've gone straight back to the way they were. Okay. And that is because you have not held yourself accountable. You haven't kept up momentum. You haven't been clear on your 90 days. There's no one holding you to a higher level of accountability. You stop with the reps. Okay. You stop the reps, because if you think what we do in the 28 days, what do you do every single morning? You show up. You keep showing up every single morning by just putting your bullet points. Okay. It becomes repetition. It becomes momentum. It becomes routine. It becomes a way of life. The minute that's gone, you have to make sure that you, okay, are making sure that you're continuing the reps. It's the same with your weekly focus. It's the same with your weekly planning, okay, that we put up this morning. These are fundamentals to ensure that you maintain the momentum. It takes a few days. You get it into your head that you're not doing great. You start feeling sorry for yourself. You start falling into the victim mentality, and you start going back into the way that you were. John S., have you got your earphones in just with the kids? So I know I don't want to be swearing in the car. I just seen your kids there. Okay, great. So you end up falling back into that wagon. Okay, and that's the whole point. All right. So 90 days for me is the next stage for all of you. All right. For those that are on the mastermind, next Saturday you're going to be in a workshop with me here, and we're going to go through your goals with you. Okay, and I'm gonna go through those now. What I want to do today is talk to as many of you as possible within the time that we've got, just to talk about how you found the program so far, what the challenges are that you face ahead of you in terms of maintaining this, okay, and any other points that you want to bring up in terms of asking about preparing the 90 days. Now, I know that most of you have started the 90 days. I know some of you have posted it, but just because you put that up doesn't mean that you can't change it. Okay, you can still change your 90-day plan. You know, so for example, in the mastermind at the weekend, I did a review of my first checkpoint. As soon as I finish this call with you, if the little one lets me, I've got to readjust my 12-week plan just based on some of the things that I've reflected on. So this is an opportunity for you to rattle my brain, to ask questions, to hold yourself accountable, to do whatever you want to do in terms of using this time, and ask any questions. So let's have a look here. Is there anyone that wants to volunteer to come up first? Yeah, John, let's go. Can you hear me, mate?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me back?
I'm good, mate. Are you passenger, are you?
Yeah, I wouldn't normally be. There's the missus driving, but we're off for a family day today, fossil hunting in the Jurassic Coast. So
love it. Enjoy. Where are you in the country?
So I live in Christchurch near Bournemouth.
Oh,
so just on the south coast.
Yeah.
So we're heading over the other side, sort of Swanage sort of area.
Lovely.
Trying to avoid the crowds if we can.
Yeah, fair one. Okay, so how's things going?
But no, yeah, going really well. So this week, I suppose this is one of the questions I wanted to ask with the 90-day plan, because I've got a sort of a draft of a 90-day plan in my head, but it's kind of all out of the window because it's summer holidays with the kids, and so my plan's almost extended by a month because we're almost decided to take this month off as much as possible. So it's having all the morning routine stuff in place, for sure, but then it's going to drastically change come September when all three of the kids go back to school. So for me, I've got like a 30-day plan of getting through the next 30 days, and then a 90-day plan after that, which is as well why I've applied to join the mastermind, because I want as for that accountability as well of not just finishing this 28 days and then going off and doing my own thing and losing complete sight of everything. Okay. But no, to answer your original question, it has been going really well. And
let me give you like a scenario. So why don't you create a 90-day plan, but then have the first checkpoint is at the very end of August, right? And then you've got the other two. So for most of you, your checkpoints will end up going August, September, October. We'll go to the end of October. So why don't you
Yeah.
why don't you just, instead of having the 30-day plan and then the 90-day plan, just start the 12-week plan so you know everything that's in focus and where you're going, but just the first checkpoint is specific to your needs and what you want.
Yeah. No, that probably sounds a better way of doing it, to be honest, rather than sort of blanking out a month.
Yeah, 100%. And that way, because the first thing you said to me is that, like, when people have time off or that large amount of time, I completely understand with it. I still want you to think, to be as proactive as you can. It might not be so much with work, but if you're taking it off, there's opportunities here for personal development. There's opportunities here to think about the 10-year plan in terms of maybe cementing everything. If you've got time here, and that's a valuable thing to leverage on, so that when we come to September, man, you've spent like the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks really dedicating that to yourself. So, you're ready to go slip into that work mode.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like last time we spoke, I talked about wanting to sort of increase my confidence, and it's funny how that's not like an actual thing you can do. It's a byproduct of other stuff that you're doing.
Then yes.
And even these last few weeks, and like up to today, I'm booking classes for myself. I've been going to a boxing classes.
Right.
I've got an open water coach that I'm going to go and see Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. So just there's loads of positive stuff, and like you say, so for this month to be doing more of that stuff and getting it in the plan and increasing, I suppose, the output of what I can do.
100%.
And then the more business focused stuff to start in a month or so.
When you come back, we've got an entrepreneur workshop in September as well. So, that's something that you can slip into as well. And you're absolutely right. And I'm glad you said that. Like the process, the confidence comes as a byproduct of showing up every single day, right? It's the repetition.
Yeah.
And I think, you think about somebody that goes to the gym and they constantly repping over and over and over again, they become stronger and more confident in their ability, right? And that's the same in your relationship, in the personal development, and everything else that's going on. Sorry, just Elsa.
Frozen too, yeah.
So you're absolutely right. And it's the momentum, right? And then when that momentum stops, that's when we start doubting ourselves, and the self-limiting beliefs start creeping in like a trickle, and it starts off as a drip. And then we end up building momentum of doing nothing. And then we suddenly hit a brick wall and we're back to where we started, right? So I think you're right in terms of and we'll talk about this more next Saturday if you're in with us. But I think the key thing here is to realize that there's an opportunity here for you to really leverage some self-development time. Yeah,
definitely. And again, I think a week or so ago, I was still having a drink during the week and whatnot. I was just making excuses for stuff. And my mission, I just set a mission of no more excuses, no more bullshitting myself, no more excuses. Sorry, it's just swearing.
Your mission is probably like it.
Yeah. So just no more excuses, and it's really helped. And again, even the missus is saying this week, the difference, even from a few days ago, but certainly from a month ago, is chalk and cheese. It's black and white. So,
100%.
And that's all good, doesn't it? That adds to that bit of confidence 100%. And the.
You think about this, works, so. You think about this. You're officially only 3 weeks into this journey. Like that's it. And like for many of you, like I feel like whenever I get involved in these courses, I feel like I've been working with all of you for months.
Yeah.
And we just did a 5-day challenge, and the difference, if some of you remember from it, some of the difference already in those guys from Monday or the Friday just to the Friday changes, and it's because you've changed the way you see things. You've changed.
The mindset.
You've broken the pattern of what you used to do and what you used to think was acceptable and right. And like I said to all of you on the very first day, that as you go along, you're going to start breaking down these patterns and start replacing them with new ways of thinking. And that's what we're seeing with you, mate.
Yeah. Thank you. It's been amazing. And, your whole setup with the WhatsApp group, with the ambassador and just the sort of more, I suppose, personal bond you sort of start building with the lads within the group has just been fantastic. And it's funny because we've all, I think I emailed you the other day, we've all got our own sort of backstories and our own reasons for doing this. And yet doing it at the same time kind of bonds us together. And so it's all,
100%. And I think that is, was that about the trip to
the fan dance?
Fan dance, yeah. And that's brilliant, because if you bring that in, we're set it up as a team event for Mastermind to do, because we're already doing the 3 peaks next year. And there's lots to still do. There's lots happening in terms of, you know, the meetups. We meet up 3 times a year anyway, but doing events together is something that we're trying to implement more of, to create the community and the bond as well. So that type of stuff is brilliant to bring in. Good. All right, John, I hope you have an amazing day.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay on the call just for everyone. I want to try and, you know, listen to everyone. If it cuts out, it cuts out, but I will be watching it back.
Yeah, that's fine, mate. Yeah, no worries. Have a good day.
Nice one. Cheers, buddy.
Well done, mate. Volunteers? Oh, someone's got their hand up there. Sorry. Right, I've got John. Sorry, I've got 2 screens, so I flip between 2 of you guys. So if I miss you, don't worry, I'll come to you. John, Alex, Clark, how's it going?
Yeah, good. Thanks, James. How about you, mate?
I'm great, mate. Thank you so much. How's things going?
Yeah, you know what? Really well. I'm going to be honest. When I first started the program, I wasn't convinced. So I'm not. So this isn't about this is a good thing. And I was like, no, this isn't for me. What's this about? 5 days into it, I'm like, honestly, mindset completely changed. Loved it. Got so much benefit out of it, and really glad I've done it.
John, you wouldn't be human if you weren't skeptical at the start. And you wouldn't have been the only one, mate. So it's one of those things. And you know, you hear so much chitter-chat out, we're going to do this and that and that. It's like, you know, and if you and it's down to you, do, because it's the 2 rules, right? It's showing up and meeting halfway, and you do that, you've got the best out of it.
Yeah, it's been, I've honestly got so much benefit out of it. Really, you know, the kind of camaraderie and the kind of bit of banter in the groups, and the accountability. Yeah, it works really well. My question, James, is this the 90-day thing. I've come up with so many ideas of things I want to do. I'm like completely overwhelmed, and I'm like,
That's common. That's common.
It's like, what the hell do I actually focus on?
Okay, so John, here's the thing. Go away and write down where you want to be in a year in each of your pillars. Okay. So, and this takes time, and take the weekend, and this is for everyone. So you remember when we did the 10-year plan?
Yeah.
Okay. The idea of the 10-year plan. So when I was 40, I did my 10-year plan. I then broke that down into checkpoints. Okay. Where I needed to be in 5 years, where I needed to be in 3 years, where I needed to be in 1 year. So I took what I needed to be in that 1 year, and then I reverse engineered the process into, okay, how do I break that down into 4 quarters, into 4 sections, 4 90-day stints? Mm-hmm. And that gave me the answer about what I needed to do in terms of my 90 days.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you think about where you would like to be next year as a milestone, as a like North Star, and then when you get to that point, how is that going to push you closer to the bigger vision? Mm-hmm. So instead of just conjuring up things in terms of like, oh, you know, I'm just going to do a half marathon just for the sake of it, it wants to align with like what you want. So if you want to achieve more physically and you want to push your comfort zones, if that's one of your things that you would like to achieve by the end of the year, then by doing that, you're challenging yourself by saying, okay, I want to run that half marathon because I've never done it, or I want to test myself in a marathon, or I want to do a triathlon, and that aligns with everything that you're saying you want to do.
Sure.
A couple of the guys that I've worked with in the past, one of the guys who finished the 28 days, he's been with us nearly a year now, and he said, I want to run 10 miles in October. And he said that all the way back last January. And I was like, no, like, why do you want to run 10 miles? He goes, I want to push past my limits. So I made him sign up for a marathon for October rather than doing 10 miles. And he did 10 miles 6 weeks after he said that to me. And the only reason I got him to push himself is because you're only self-limiting is your mind. Your mind is the only thing that is self-limiting. So when it comes to what you want to achieve, take what you want to achieve in a year, think about it realistically, and then break that down into 4 90-day periods. The first 90-day periods, what's the stepping stone? Remember that 1%. Now, this is for everyone. We all want to achieve everything, right? Every single one of you right now, I'd like to think, is in a good place mentally, emotionally, physically. You know, you're starting to see your potential. You're starting to create a brand new identity. You're starting to see the world through a different set of eyes. So you probably want everything. You'll come out the 20 day and I want to take on the world, you know, and the realistic is that you can't do that. Okay. You just can't do that yet. You know, it's almost becoming very overconfident in your own abilities and then suddenly completely exploiting yourself. Do you remember that video I did with the expectations versus your conditioning?
Yeah, exactly.
It's matching. It's making sure that you're in alignment with that. But what you could achieve if we sat down here this time next year and I said to you, okay, what did you achieve? And I asked you that, what do you want to achieve in those 4 pillars? And you turned around to me and said, yeah, that's what I've worked on for the whole year. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you've broken it down into micro chunks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the 4 checkpoints each 90 day is then broken down into the weeklies, and then they're your micro chunks, okay, about how to get to where you want to be. So do you have any idea where you would like to be this time next year, let's say for health?
So I look 10 years down the line. I look 90 days down the line. I've not really looked like a year down the line. So I'm going to spend this weekend on yeah.
Sorry, bloody hell. My mother's trying to phone. 2 secs. Just switch her off. Sorry about that. Say that again. Sorry, dude.
Yeah, so I kind of had a quick think about sort of 10 years. It's like pretty abstract, you know, like way out stuff in 10 years' time. And I had a quick think about sort of 90 days, but I've not really thought about it in a year's time.
Okay.
So I'm going to, like you're saying, I'm going to spend this weekend, I'm going to think about a year's time.
Yeah. But you've got time. Yeah, like we've still got another 10 days of this course, right? So I think it's something that, you know, consume your thoughts in the morning routine about it, you know, and I always talk about these things in that video. I talk about like what's the desire, what's the passion, what makes you want to get up. It's got to be something hungry. So next year I've set my sights on doing a 50 miler and a 100-mile race, and possibly an Ironman, all out of my comfort zone. But it's a case that I know that I want to do that, because the reason I want to do that is because when I do those races, everything else raises, like the way that I work, my relationships, everything's heightened. So I've kind of got that desire and that passion and that connection about why I want to do it. And that's what I want from all of you, is to kind of go, right, look at my 90-day plan. It gets me excited. It pushes me out of my comfort zone. I learn and test and adjust to be able to grow.
Yeah, I'm kind of finding that the more you kind of focus on one and the more kind of benefit and kind of result you see, it kind of reads sideways across into other areas of life as well. That's quite a common thing.
100%. 100. So that's what I was literally talking about there. So like people thought I was mental when I did the 100-miler for the second time. I didn't do it for the 100-miler. I did it because I needed to raise my game in my own business, in my own relationships, and in my own personal development. Because when I do it and I go out for 4 to 6 hour runs, that's 4 to 6 hours worth of audio that I'm listening to, which then triggers the motivation to build my business and my brand and everyone else that I help. So sometimes I don't actually do it for the medal. I do it for the process, and the process is what grows me. For you guys as well here, this whole process is teaching you more about yourself. Imagine if you hadn't done it, this program, and what life would look like for you. You never would have known what you're capable of. You would have stayed in that same place. And that's what I call that hamster wheel. So when you suddenly find something, the byproduct is that everything else goes up with you as well.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense.
Don't worry about it being wrong, because remember, it's a development thing. So if you do 90 days and go, well, I could have done more, then you know for the next 90 days. Remember, this is an endless journey to the forever. Yeah. This is not like we're gonna smash 2020 and then fuck the rest of our life off. This is like a process forever. This is a lifestyle change that I'm trying to embed in here for you. That, you know, you'll know after the first 4 weeks of your 90 days whether it's going the way you want it to. And if it's not, and you're not challenged enough, then you can readjust.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'll finish with this. Don't overthink the process. Just don't overthink the process. Just do and learn. Do and learn. Learn, grow, repeat. Learn, grow, repeat. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense. Nice one, James. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
No worries, brother.
Thank you.
No worries. Anyone else? Yeah, let's go. This cricket guy here.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Oh yeah, good. I'm just gonna go inside because the sun's out on the boat.
Playing cricket today, looks like you're ready for a game.
Bit of cricket, yeah. I want to be accountable to you guys today to get a 50, so that's my thing. Gary Pinion. You could ask me.
Mate, I'm playing my first 11-a-side football
Yeah.
game in 7 years today, so I'm going to end up crippled with my hamstrings.
Yeah. Just want to say thank you. I owe Lou an email about the next challenge, the next thing. So that's great. Just wanted to say to Gary, I tried my best to short game on myself with lots of things, but get the stuff that I know is making such a difference right. So sorry about that, but yeah, just know that I don't want to, and out of the head, it makes it halfway around and crashes. So I found it really good. Never felt better. Actually, I did the 5-day and done this. Yeah, everything's moving in the right direction. And my kids notice a huge difference. I'm not going to theirs and going to sleep because I feel shit. I'm eating much better. That muscle food stuff is great.
Great.
The breakfast is getting a bit dull, so I might need to change that. But the physical stuff, trying to do that 3 days a week, and just the absolute, you know what, the difference it is ridiculous. It is ridiculous, because you said in the 5-day, you said if you do 3 days of 20 or 30 minutes of exercise, whatever it is, over what has been 5 or 6 weeks, fucking just absolutely smashing the days like I never knew I could. Absolutely smashing it and feeling, you know, I'm not one for touch myself up, but, you know, I've had muscles where I didn't know I could have them. You know, it just felt great on it. And the energy levels are just brilliant.
Good. You sound great, mate. When we spoke to last time, you sound and you look great.
Thank you. Yeah, well, I hope everyone else is resonating on that and wanting to play the long game as well, you know. So yeah, and it is. What I do want to do is, and what's been interesting is the journal is just every time. What is interesting doing the journal plan for this week is looking back on like the previous weeks, and then you sort of think, okay, that's what I put there. Dumped a bit in there, and you're absolutely right about your 1,000-mile run thing, because that then extends you, but it's all proportional to everyone, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, so. And because you're then thinking about those things, I've never thought about personal development. I mean, I was in such a rut. I never thought. So now, every week on week of the brain dump, and because you're thinking about these things, listening to the podcasts and stuff, your brain and you're feeling fit and you've got clarity. You know, you're then thinking about new things that would never come into and conversations. You're just having conversations with people that you walk away from it. Fucking hell, did I just say that? And, you know, put a proposal to someone and say, yeah, it's fine, no problem. But I never would have done it. So thank you.
Mate, good man. But that's you, dude. It's you, like you. So you just the 2 rules. That's it. You follow the 2 rules, and it makes the difference in your benefit and your product of that as well. Do you know what I mean? So, like, to listen to you do that is like it's really great to hear. That's that's why we do this, right? To listen to that, and it changes lives. And especially what I love most about that is the fact that the kids notice. And I think that for me is, one of the reasons I think I always started this subconsciously so many years ago is that my dad died of a heart attack when I was 5, and he just used to smoke and drink, and he was stressed, and all of the shenanigans that I think many of the men face. And I think subconsciously, one of the reasons I was drawn to men and to help men was the fact that I guess I missed out on an upbringing with my original dad. And I think, one of my things and one of the reasons that I show up every day is because, like, I need to make sure that I see my kids grow up and be settled before, like, I even think about passing on, So I've got to make sure that I'm here for the next 60 years in my head. And I think listening to you there was like brilliant to hear, because, everything's just falling into place, like, nicely for you.
Yeah. No, it's been perfect timing, actually. I think that's quite a lot to do with it as well. But yeah, this is when I did see it. Thank you for saying that. And sorry to hear that news for you, but
Oh,
your
mate,
kids
no
will
problem,
have a better. But I'm struggling to spell Gary's surname every time.
I don't even know how to spell it, mate. He's my ambassador.
Yeah. And what was I going to say? I can't remember now. But yeah, I'm just human and me.
Good.
But the difference of doing this has been fantastic. So thank you.
Good lad, good man, good man. So think a little bit more now about this week, about really knowing what the stage is for you next over those 90 days. Be kind of clear in your head, and this is for everyone. I think the best thing to do is brain dump the life out of it, right? And kind of like, again, what I said to John is kind of like, what here is the end of year. Okay, what's the first step to achieving that? And for what you've just told me, I really feel that one of the benefits that you'll get is just cementing everything. Even if you just did what you did in the 28 days, for the next 90 days, that really pays you neurologically to be able to make the second. So it's automated. So you don't even have to think about it. So it's just like you wake up, you do it. The way you do your transition room, the way that you got your rules, your work-life balance, everything becomes embedded in your DNA. And this is just natural. And this is the way that life is now. And I think for many of you, if you are focusing on that for the next 90 days, making this 28 days like a permanent fixture in your brains, in your habits, in your blood, in your DNA, like you then are on the right path. You then can't go back. And I think so many people who come out of this process, then go into the next process, are trying to achieve something incredible, which is great, but it's too soon. And instead, we're not embedding the basics. This is the basics, what you're going through, right? This is the foundations. When you build a skyscraper, you dig down before you dig up. And that's the same for you guys. You've got to always remember those foundations.
If I'm being honest, I don't want to take too much time, but the golden hour is the thing I'm really focused on.
100%.
I haven't really, and the diet, I know I need a lot of protein and a lot of energy from a job. And for this anyway, I was well under, just eating shit. I was eating shit. But I haven't, if I can, I will. But I want to make sure I'm building on it rather than replacing it. So
100%. And that's the leverage for you to then build on the other areas, like the evening routine, like during the day, like the work-life balance, all of that stuff. Like the morning routine for me is the fires, the leverage for everyone to build on.
When I did see you initially in your hat with your daughter there, I thought, shall I, shan't I, shall I? I'm so glad I did.
Good man. Good. That, never look back now.
No, I hope not.
Forward ever forward, as my mum would say.
Good man.
Good man. Nice to talk to you. Good luck at the cricket.
Cheers.
Who's next? Oh, I've got James Clifford who's raised his hand. Where are you, James? Wave. There he is.
Hey, James.
How you doing, mate? All right?
Not too bad, thank you. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Good. I'm good. I have to be honest, because I did your 5-day thing a few weeks back, and I was slightly, I got what you were saying, but I was slightly sceptical about joining up. But I'm glad I did now, and I think one of the things I probably struggle with a little bit, and I appreciate there's a very diverse group here, and you've got shift workers, and when we go into the miniature of breaking the day down sort of hour by hour, I struggle with that. And one of the reasons is because of the job I do and the hours I sometimes have to work, I can't really stick to that sort of fairly rigid schedule. But so I'm more, whilst I'm posting up the weekly schedule or even the daily schedule, it's more, they're the 6 things I need to do today, but it's not necessarily going to happen in that order. So if I've put in there, I'm going to go off and paddle 10 miles on the sea, sometimes when you're up in the morning, you've got calls, it doesn't work. So it ends up being at the back end of the day, which means you have to flip everything around, which is not a major problem. But the one thing I really, it's funny, I really, you can have a week about the kill zones in the morning. It wasn't a revelation, but it was something I'd been thinking about for some considerable time, particularly during lockdown. So I'm just, as a bit of background, I'm the head of risk for a private bank in London, Now in lockdown, what's happened is you obviously everything is video conference. And after the first sort of 2 months, where it was a struggle for a lot of people, you suddenly find lots of meetings in your diary whereby these would have been resolved if you'd been in the office, and you just pop down on a different floor, or you ask them to come up and it's done within 5 minutes. Suddenly those 5-minute quick face-to-face meetings are now turning into half an hour sessions and meetings with multiple people on, and you end up on these meetings with the first 15 minutes is everyone catching up what they've done at the weekend. I'm not being ignorant to it, but when we're at work, we're here to work. We can have chit chats and cyber coffee mornings or whatever, whenever. And I was getting a bit frustrated because my day was getting longer and longer because I'm trying to do the right thing and accommodate and listen. Oh, well, it's really interesting you did this, but of course you're not getting work done. And what I did, and I tagged you, I think it was on Tuesday. After watching your podcast or however you call it, or video on, I think either the Tuesday or the Wednesday, I think it was Tuesday, I sat down straight away and I rescheduled the whole next 2 months of my work diary. And I basically, I talked to a friend about this. He said, well, that approach is a little bit arrogant, but I said, well, what I've basically done, the only people I will do meetings with in the morning now are peers or like your boss or someone above them, like the CEO, etc.
Yeah.
Because that's where you've got to deliver.
Yeah. On
a working day basis, and the rest of the stuff, if it happens in the afternoon, it can happen in the afternoon. Yeah. And I've also found that the night before, you're drawing up sort of 4 or 5 key business priorities, and when I say business, work, and then you've got your 4 or 5 personal priorities.
Yeah.
I'm trying to hit all of those in that morning kill zone, and it's incredibly effective.
100%. Yeah. So what you said there,
I've got through is astonishing because it's cutting the chaff out.
Yeah.
And just dealing with
priority for work. So what you're saying there is exactly the strategy that I use. So I run a thing called the Roundtable, which is like my one-on-one type of thing, and it's usually aimed at business owners. And we got a guy in there who is the CEO is of a hundreds of £1 million business around the world. And one of the things that he was doing was completely being exactly what you're saying there, right? You get completely consumed going on in terms of everything that's going on in the business. Like in terms of you, the access to you, okay, has to be limited, has to be restricted. So that means just talking to the actual people that you need to talk to get the shit done that you need to do in your work. Otherwise, what he was doing was talking to everyone, and he wanted to be involved with everything. Now, the kill zone between 9 and 12:30 is all of the, if you like, £250 an hour jobs. So like whether you work for yourself or you work for a company, they're the jobs that have to be done, okay? And the prime time is between 9 and 12:30. And what you've said is absolutely right. So that later in the afternoon, you're not as stressed or getting as frustrated if people are yabbering on. But if you are in charge of that, it's a case of you setting the rules as well in terms of like, when we come on, let's just get straight to it. Like, so it's like taking chair of the meetings. Like I reckon that most of us here could talk all day, like talking about life, talking about everything that's going on. So it's a case of chairing those meetings and saying, right, okay, everyone in, let's go. So if you noticed at the start today, I was like, I'm not waiting around for people that are going to be late. We've said we're going at 8:30. That's what time we go in. Like I'm limited on time this morning, so I want to get as many people in as possible. So that's when you start doing that and you start increasing the level of control, you then start to perform a lot better and feel better about everything. So and the other thing is, in the other terms of the things you were saying earlier, I think having an adaptive and overcome mentality as well is also key, I guess, for your job role. And this is for anyone that's in a similar position to James. It's a case of being able to adapt and overcome the plan to be able to move the areas like your chess game, okay? So you've got your outline of what you want to achieve in a day, but if you have to do some of the things that you were going to do in the afternoon and bring into the morning, it's okay to do that. So it doesn't matter if you can't be absolutely rigid hour by hour, because I know not everybody is in the same position as I am. I'm in control of my own time because it's my own business, whereas some of you are not. So it's a case of adapting, overcoming, but having like that one thing that you know you need to achieve. And if that's done, you can still look at the day as a win.
Yeah, I think I may have come across in some of the posts. I'm ex-forces myself, but from Christ, I left 22 years ago. And when I first went into banking, I had that military ethos where, you've got 5 minutes to deliver. I don't want 15 minutes to chat for you to tell me your objectives and stuff. And I carried that on through, but I noticed it was probably about a year ago, I'd lost that. You end up pussyfooting around and wrapping everybody up in cotton wool, because if you're direct, people get offended. They say, "Oh, I'm not. That was a bit brusque," or "You don't seem to be collaborative." It's all these soft words. And the organisation I'm in now, which I went to because I was the previous one I was on a plane like 6-7 times a week. It is very old schooly, and it's people walk around on eggshells, and I've just realised, and it's funny, you go right back to what you said about taking control of your life again. That's certainly what I've done now, because the problem from my side was I was listening to everyone and going, "Oh yeah, well, see if you can do that in 2 days' time, or next week, or next month, or whatever." I'm listening to lots of chit chat that means nothing. It's just white noise, and suddenly my working day is going from 7:30 in the morning to 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, because I'm still trying to finish the stuff I did.
Yeah.
And no one else is doing that. And it's as you say, taking back control of your life. And so that the kill zone thing was, of everything that you've done so far in these 3 weeks, that to me has been the pivotal thing for me.
Good. And have you got some idea about where you're heading with this now?
Yeah, I'm almost certainly going to sign up for the mastermind. I guess, I mean, it is a slight concern. I'd like to know the bigger picture. I've read through your brochure, and I'd like to know the bigger picture, because I guess with the weekly and daily thing, that you can only manipulate that so much. And it is, you can have a schedule, but as I said, and I'm sure there's other guys and it's like this, yeah, you've got a schedule for the day or the next 3 days, but if something serious comes up, it's all got to be juggled around, and you don't. And sometimes I get pissed off with myself, because I said I was going to do a 10K run this morning, and I haven't done it, and then the day's gone, and then you'll find yourself going at 8 o'clock or whatever. So I guess I'm wondering with the mastermind thing, is it more long term, saying, well, okay guys, we've got your 12-week plan, you've got that in place. Now we're going to look at like a year plan, 3 years, 10 years, reverse engineer it.
So the idea of the mastermind, mate, is a platform to continue your growth, if you like. So whatever your circumstances, James, will be different to John's or Robert's or Martin's, and everyone has their own kind of like agenda, or their own work, or their own vision about what they want to achieve. The idea of the mastermind is to be part of an accountability system, a platform of communities where there is vast amounts of experience in particular work places or job titles, in the vast of different experiences mentally and emotionally and physically, in terms of where people are going. So there's a support system there. There's in terms of helping you guys as well, it's being there as the mentor, as the coach, to be able to deliver these type of forums, to be able to get you to come and meet us face to face, to be able to do training, to be able to continue to strive and push yourself. And I think that one of the things that we never used to have the mastermind, but one of the reasons that we set up the mastermind in the first place was that we used to do this 28 days, and everyone that did the 28 days would leave the 28 days and then message me or email me in a week or two and say, could they do the next one? Because they're just going straight back to the way that they were going, because there was no one holding them accountable. There was no one there to guide them. There's no one there to help them. So we created this platform to be able to continuation of the training, of the stuff that you're doing. So in theory, it's a case of saying, if you end up getting lost and you end up stressing out, it's just messaging me and going, right, James, I'm completely fucking lost. I need your help. And it's me case of getting on a phone to you and discussing about the action plan where you're going back, so you don't keep falling off. It's about keeping up with your own level of achievement that you want to achieve, and having yourself as accountable as possible throughout that process, right? So there's there's like tons of support, there's tons of training, there's business specific training, there's mental health or mental vision and health type of training and conditioning and workshops. So it's about being part of something much bigger than just trying to be out there doing it yourself. And that's what we wanted to offer somebody. So instead of doing the journey by yourself and trying to struggle, be part of the community with a ton of support, with accountability to be able to keep teaching you and growing.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Anything else? Are you happy? Happy, James?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought you was talking to the group. Yeah, no, absolutely. Sorry. No, yeah, super. Thanks.
No worries, mate. No worries. Okay, anyone who's next? Yeah, let's go, John. Fucking love the hands. Confidence. The difference in the confidence between this one and the last one. Right, let's go, John Tarling.
Hello there.
How's it going?
Oh, good, man. Good. Hi, everyone. Absolutely loving it. Really still loving it. Started on the 5-day and got hooked instantly. Onto 28-day. Still love it. And I'm now in the MM Mastermind. And yeah.
Are you actually on the app now?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Yeah. Getting to grips with it. I'm doing it slowly because still doing the 28-day. Don't want to sort of.
You haven't got, so don't stress, because there is a video series links to teach you how to use it all, and we'll be doing that next week as well. So don't stress out about it.
Okay, I'm getting to grips with the Mastermind app. My plan is to get used to the trainees one, the fitness one.
Yeah,
the
training app with all the gym workouts and the home workout. Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to getting my teeth into that one. Yeah, to be honest, because a lot of the way through this, a lot of this I'm learning. I've needed my health pillar the most to help me up here.
Yeah.
Something really positive come out for me is the PD one with like all the podcasts and the audio books. Can't get enough of it now. I've caught up with your podcast, and I'm hitting the audiobooks quite hard now. Done 2. I'm on my 2nd one this week.
So John, here's something for you just on that before I forget. And this is for everyone when it comes to personal development, right? When you're listening to audio books and podcasts, you can get into a flow of continuously listening, but getting fuck all from them. Okay. And because what I mean by that is if you become a PD junkie and you're going audiobook, podcast, you've got to be making sure you're taking something from them. They've got to be nuggets in terms of learning from them. And this is something I spoke to the lads about and they all resonated in the mastermind, is that you can listen, you can turn around and say to me, I listened to 20 audiobooks this year. But then when I turn around and say, what did you discover from them? What did you learn from them? You've got to, so if you think about school, when you're learning, right, and you're reading your educational books and you're taking stuff from them, like, so John, you look like you're throwing yourself into them, and it can be overwhelming because you're listening to so many different things that are going on, so much information coming in, so much advice, so much guidance. You're like, Jesus, like one guy will say something completely to what I say. Another guy will say something completely to what other guys say, and you never know what's right or wrong. So I think just what you're doing is great, but I want you to have a system in place where you, like, I have like a learning journal. So key points that I want to take away and learn. And the way that I confirm those learnings is by doing them on the Rise to Thrive show or doing them in my bi-weekly training in a mastermind.
Okay.
Otherwise it becomes a minefield of like, oh my God, who the fuck am I listening to?
Yeah, I can relate. Yeah, actually, yeah, you probably, yeah, you'll nip that in the bud for me by saying that, because that was starting to happen. It was all sort of starting to gel into one.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's a good shout, actually.
So something I changed, I was like you, John, I was like audiobooks. So I listen to 2 audiobooks a quarter now, and I listen to them 3 times. So I listen to them both in a month, and the same again the following month, and the same again the 3rd month. And it just, the stuff you don't hear, and like when you listen to it the 3rd time, the stuff you're like, how did I miss that the 1st time round? And it just refocuses and re-energizes your vision on those books.
Okay, all right.
It's not for everyone, because you might get end up bored of listening to the same bloke, but it's about the point, especially if it's the Chimp Paradox. If you ever listen to that,
I've heard about it. The boys have been discussing that on the WhatsApp group in Gary Alston's group. Oh yeah, they've mentioned it and saying that it's quite hard listening.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, that is a great group. Gary's a great ambassador, and there's some great lads in there.
Good.
While I'm on that one, yeah. Apart from that, it's all really good. I'm really excited about going on the journey.
What's next, John? What's next in terms of your 90 days? Have you got? You don't need to go through it with me, but have you got some idea about what you're going to do?
Yes, I have. So basically, it's the simple one for health is keeping that routine of the golden hour.
Yeah.
Because that is a massive, massive thing for me at the minute. You know, the health. Yeah, that is mainly all about the fitness, and that fitness physically helps up here.
Yeah.
It clears me for the rest of the day. It does exactly what it should, I think, for me anyway.
Good.
And yeah, I'm not really dropping that. I struggled actually last Sunday. Sunday last week was my first rest day. I think you mentioned it to me on Facebook as well, that I become completely overwhelmed with it because I wasn't doing anything. No, there wasn't any physical activity. And I felt lost. I felt really thrown back by it. But yeah, simple things like even going for a walk, I suppose, walking the dog or whatever, that helped in the end. But I just need to learn on weekends to take it easy because I can end up doing too much and it'll affect
I always say the 28 days, mate, is to go all in on the 28 days. And then when you kind of get yourself into a nice routine and pattern to have balance. So the weekends, I don't do anything. Like, do you know what I mean? I don't set my alarm. Like if I feel a bit like sometimes I know when I'm mentally a little bit challenged and I feel a little bit like, oh, I just need to get out, then I just go and take the dogs for a walk down the beach. You know, I won't listen to anything. I just go and do like a 2-mile walk, just clear my mind. But it's good recognition in terms for yourself to realise those things. And what we'll end up doing is when we talk next week on the transition workshop, I'm going to go into a bit more detail about your 90-day plan then, and we'll discuss that then.
Cool. That's good. Thank you.
Good. Nice and positive, John. Good lad.
Good man.
Andrew, did you put your hand up? Yeah. Cool. Let's do it.
Morning, James. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good, actually. Yeah, I'll be honest with the 28 days. I think the last 2 weeks has been really good. I think when we had the first workshop, I think I mentioned that the first week was a bit heavy, all the self-reflection, etc. I think the advice he gave was to change my morning routine. I'm going out doing a 4-mile walk, listening to some really good podcasts. It's given me a bit of a good direction. I think I came up with a really weird feeling with regards to one of my breakthrough Mondays, where I actually gave my mum some flowers, etc., just for giving her flowers.
Yes.
It was a real moment for me.
Nice.
About time and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I specifically, I guess I'm a bit of a planner anyway. So going through the schedules and going through the routines and planning my day more has given me a lot more focus. And yeah, and I guess for me it's really pivotal at the moment because unfortunately when I went through the 5-day process, I wasn't going to come on the 28-day because of finances. And I'm in the same position now with the mastermind. So I'm at the pivotal one where I've got to sort of like branch out on my own, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, so I've got a sort of draft for the 90 days now. Good. I'm taking it from my 10-year plan at the moment. Good. Which is it's draft, because of course it's first attempt. But yeah, I mean, overall it's going really well. I think I've got so much out of it so far.
Good. So the things that you can do, like if the mastermind is out of your league right now, you can come to the Man's Coach page and we do the Rise to Thrive shows in the morning. So there's constant content on there to keep you motivated and focused. And you've got an outline now. So you'll get the course at the Facebook page on when we finish, the Monday after we finish, will be archived. So you can come back to all of the videos, all of the content to keep reminding you as well. So, you know, that's your tool page if you like to come back to. So you think of how much you develop now, all you have to do is just make sure you maintain that momentum. And that's all it is. It's kind of like, and I don't want you to think, oh my God, I'm like, you know, I'm going to be on my own here doing this now. But it's in terms of like, maybe somebody else who is enjoying it from the mastermind in your group might want to be accountability buddies, or, You know, maybe that you check in with me on the Rise to Thrive shows or whatever it is that you do. Do you know what I mean? So it's a case of like, remember, I always talk about remembering that mission and making sure that 90-day, that mission that you've set yourself is strong enough for you to be able to show up all the time and remember everything that you've achieved, so to speak.
Okay, good, thanks.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, it may be worthwhile. I just a thought as well. Have you ever thought about a mastermind light?
It's what, sorry?
A mastermind light, so it's not quite as intense, but you've got that thing going on where you've got the accountability and stuff like that, but maybe not as much of the content.
I get it.
Not quite so much.
Yeah, I know. I get it. We used to do that, but the thing that we had was that no one ever committed to it ever.
No.
It was like we tested it for like a year and a half, and it was just like no people would do it for like a month or so, and then they just end up losing interest.
Yeah.
So that's why we just went with the mastermind. But yeah, you're right. So if you do get struggled, you can always drop me an email if you need any guidance. You know, I'm always there anyway.
Yeah. Cheers, mate.
Okay, well done, Andrew.
Thanks.
Who's next? Who is next? Here you go. Let's go, Kenny.
Sorry, there was another one. Yeah. Morning.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good. It's been really good this 5 days, and then I went on to the 28, and I'm currently sort of considering signing up for the mastermind, especially today. I think it was you who mentioned this process is what makes you grow. And I think that's exactly why I should sign up this evening. I have been working on the 90-day plan and so on, and I can see where I struggle a lot is my job. In the day-to-day, there's so much procrastinating. I'm even aware of it. It's quite scary, actually. But that aside, yeah, the 5 day, the 28 have been brilliant for my health. Getting away from just laying in bed until I need the first meeting at 8:30 and drop out and work from home and sit in front. We don't use video, so that's okay. But yeah, now I'm up generally before 5:30 every day and out for a run or a bike or whatever it is, and yeah, it's getting back to the weight where I was 18 months ago. So it's
so what do you procrastinate with at work, Kenny? Do you work from home, or is it your own business or a company?
No, I work for big telecoms, Nokia. No secret in that. So all over the world with respect to meetings and customers meetings. So with respect to that, I agree with. There was someone who mentioned about planning your day can be quite a struggle, because I can get a meeting. Yeah, we have a meeting in 15 minutes. Drop what you have. Customer is important. But yeah, you know, it's when I have some action point that I need to get closed off, and I know what to do, but it's just a bit of too hard work to get it done, if I'm honest. And then it's easier to do some help my colleague out with some other stuff, and then suddenly 2 or 3 hours have gone, and then I'll do my own action points tomorrow. And I think that's sort of I guess I've always been aware of it, but definitely these two and a half weeks that we have done now have sort of made me realize where it is that I'm going wrong, and it's part of what I put down for my 90-day plan. I need to get on top of the project I'm working on, understand exactly what it is. I think it was James who said, right, you need to stop being nice to your colleagues sometimes. Actually, it's sort of when the colleague ping you, can you help on that, and then suddenly you have half an hour or 1 hour gone because you just needed to do that. And
straight talking, Kenny, is the only way to get shit done, right? If I ended up fucking you lot up, you know, you wouldn't get started. It's going to be all right, Kenny. Don't worry. You know, you'll be fine. You're just going to keep trying.
Yeah, no, it's
like that, Kenny. Sort your shit out. Otherwise, you're going to be like stressed out, right? So it's like being blunt with people, I think, is sometimes the leverage that many people need in terms of to get the kick up the backside that they need. So, Kenny, quick one. Do you procrastinate in other areas of your life?
Yeah, probably I do. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
this comes back to that statement I always use, is that how we do anything is how we do anything, right? So when we, to improve this, we've got to improve the reps that we do. So what I mean by doing the reps is silly things like doing your laundry or putting your laundry away or doing the washing up or mowing the lawn or clean. Like if we tend to procrastinate on those things, that would naturally slip into our professional life or our health. And if you look at this, and we did this as a challenge in the mastermind about a year ago, and we did a month as a challenge. You're just not allowed to procrastinate. So anything that you've got to do, like tidying your desk or mowing your lawn, putting the rubbish out, you have to do there and then. The minute you think about it, you just got to do it. And what ended up happening is by the end of the month, we saw a difference in change of pattern in terms of the way that people implemented their professional life and their personal life. And suddenly people were getting into the habit of just breaking the pattern of going, oh, and it's comfortable, right? You reassure yourself by going, I'm going to do that tomorrow. And you feel really good about it. You're like, tomorrow I'm going to do the project, or tomorrow I'm going to go for that run. And you convince yourself that it's good. You're still achieving because you're going to do it tomorrow. When you don't, when actually it's a lot of pain, and you're like, oh my God, I just can't believe I've got to do this. So what I want you to practice is anything that's happening, anything that needs doing, any job, no matter how micro, I want you to start doing it. And I want you to start breaking the pattern so that your brain starts thinking job equals action, not job equals think about it, delay, and action. And I promise you, if you do that for the next 4 weeks, non-stop, every day, without fail, that procrastination will slowly start to dimmer.
Yeah. And I think you might have been in the 5-day course. When you did that, there was one sentence you put down. I remember I wrote down, it was, if not now, when? Something like that, and that actually hit home. I have to say, so far I've only applied it on my health and running and all that, but it's hopefully spreading, and that's also why I'm going to join the mastermind. And
but again, like we've spoken with some of the other lads, when you start doing something really well and you start focusing on other things, everything else becomes the byproduct as a success. We start 10x in your health. The way that I got myself out of my rut and out of my very dark stage was through exercise. You know, when I was a physical trainer in the Marines, I was in the peak of my physical condition. And when I started doing that, when I let myself go completely and then started rebuilding that, everything else started lifting. My business grew, at very early stages of it. My relationship grew because I felt better and more energized. And then the want to learn more from other people grew. So everything naturally grows. And I think that's things that we talk about with you. If you're with us next Saturday in our workshop, we talk about like that 90-day plan, because what I'll expect all of you to have is the exact plan that you want, or to at least start with, right? So then we can kind of have a look at it in depth and kind of see what's happening, what's what.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you all.
Okay, let's do this. David Flynn, let's do it. Hand straight up.
How are we doing?
I'm good. You, bro?
Yeah, good. Thank you. Good to see you.
How's things?
Yeah, good. Yeah, echoing much of what the other guys have said around the quality of the content coming through and the benefits you're seeing over such a short space of time, 2 to 3 weeks, which is great. I've started on the 90-day plan, but I just feel like some of it's a bit wishy-washy. But I think your point on the start with the year or the 12 months and then break it down into the quarters and the checkpoints will make a difference. So I'll have a look at that in the next couple of days. I think I've applied for the mastermind, so hopefully that comes through, and then just keep that accountability. As you say, if I leave it up to myself, which I have done for the last 20 plus years, this is the point where it gets to, and the last 2 years have been particularly difficult. So I certainly don't want to slip back into those old habits. And I think if I'm leaving it up to myself, that might happen. So yeah, looking forward to finishing up on the 28, and then hopefully going on to the mastermind, really. So yeah.
One of the things that is quite interesting, I like the way you talked about that. The 28-day is very much like basic training in any establishment. So you think about basic training in the police or the military or the fire service or anything like that. And what ends up happening is that we all learn the same basics, right? We all learn these same fundamentals. But when we leave and then we go into the mastermind, or you go into your units or your police unit or whatever it is that you start to create your own chapter, your own book. And this is what I want you to all to think about this is that you kind of start with a blank canvas. This is what I always say to guys who start running their own business in fitness. So I work with guys who run their own businesses as well. And many of the guys who are PTs, they come out having learned the basics of how to PT. But what they come out with is like a blank book of how they're going to create their career. Okay, and that blank book starts with all of you when you finish the 28-day. You then you finish basic training, and you're now about to create the first chapter of the next chapter of your life, to create the identity of your life. And I think it's quite exciting to know where you can go with it. And I, one of the things I'm quite privileged to have is see where everybody goes with. I get to see all the different paths that a lot of the guys take, all of the challenges that they do, and the successes that happens with that. And I think you're right in terms of when you come in, it's just cementing everything that you've got to be able to create this identity or this mindset or this awareness that you've probably never really had before. And like I said to one of the other lads, you're only 3 weeks in.
Yeah.
You know,
early days.
Imagine where you're going to be in 3 months.
Well, early days.
You're still going to have, every single one of you are still going to have shit days. Like I think, where was it? Steve, it was Steve that said, he wrote something, had an absolutely awful day, but he had the right attitude. He said, I'm going to bed, I'm going to wake up, I'm going again. And that is the exact attitude that we want. Like, you remember, if you take yourself back to maybe before this, or any of you, and you've had that bad day, you wake up and you're still moping about what happened the day before. And then that affects your day. And then you focus on what you follow. And then the day is following off based off the emotions that happened yesterday. Yeah. So every single one of us will have that bad days. Like, I have days where I'm literally like, just leave me alone, down tools, just want to go to bed, wake up, and we go again. And that will always happen. Just because you're coming into the mastermind doesn't mean life is going to be like a bed of roses for you. It just means you're going to be more resilient. It means you're going to have a stronger force field around with you for all of the shit that comes your way to rebound off, for you to be in control. And you'll see that we talk a lot about the alter ego called the elite operator. You'll hear me talking a lot about that. And that's the alter ego that I'm trying to create in the mastermind, is that elite operator, the way you do things, the way you bounce back, the way you attack your mission, how clinical you are. And they're the things that I'm looking for people to be, whether you're coming with us or not. If you have that always in your head, you wake up with elite operator, press snooze, really get up and own his day. And it does sound Chad, but it works for a lot of the guys. So yeah, I just wanted to like draw on that based on what you were saying there.
No, I like it. Yeah, absolutely. It's that the alarm goes off and it's a choice. It's a choice.
100%.
Press snooze or you get up and get on with it.
100%. And every single one of you should have on your phone, I don't even know where my phone is, this. 2 secs. This, if this doesn't get you up, I don't know what will. I'm not going to
show us now.
So there's my 4:15 one, and it says remember the mission.
Yeah, nice.
Remember the mission. And you kind of put your thing on there and it reminds you. So you go on there. If I press snooze, I'm snoozing on the mission. I'm snoozing on, I'm full of shit. I'm in front of loads of hundreds and thousands of people and I'm going to press snooze. No, I'm going to roll out of bed. Do you know what I mean? And I think
I like it.
You build that mentality, you focus on that mentality, you'll leverage of it. You'll be like, you'll become unstoppable.
Nice one. Good
All
stuff.
right, David, nice to talk to you.
Cheers, thank you.
No. Who's next? Got you, Stu. Stu, then I come to Victor. He's under pressure.
Knackered already. How's all going? Everyone all right?
Yeah, you?
Sound, man. Sound. The planning thing, I think I found that harder than the touchy-feely stuff at the beginning. I've never planned anything for the last 20 years, but I've knuckled down. I've managed to pencil out a few things for the 90 days, but I'm on the mastermind and everything, been scrolling through that, trying to get myself sorted out, because that's the only way that I learn, by
don't stress about that yet, mate, because I purposely haven't sent the transitional videos for you yet, because we're still on the program. Like, it's really good to get your eye in there and have a look. But like later on in the week, I'll send you, or Lou will send you out the videos with tutorials, mate, and then you'll be able to go through it. So don't stress about that. So we'll go through the main plan next week. And the main things that I want you to think about, don't think, I haven't done it for 20 years, it's rubbish, it's not going to be what it's meant to be. Like, the whole process here is thinking about where are you going to be in 90 days that's going to make you feel much better than where you were 3 weeks ago, right? It's kind of like, as long as it's moving you forwards, dude, I don't want you to overthink it or stress it. Because the whole thing that I want for everybody that finishes the course and goes on to their own journeys, or those that come on to continue working with us, is to gain clarity and happiness in your own life. And if you're doing stuff that's making you happy, then it's right what you've written down. So don't stress or worry about it. And this is one of the other things, and you probably felt this at the start of the 28 day, you probably felt like you're doing it wrong, or you might get it wrong, or you don't know what you're doing, or it's, it's a learning process. And that's why I want you to relax with it, because if you're flexible and you can adapt and overcome, that's how you soak up like new materials and learn and grow. Okay, instead of thinking, like, one of the biggest problems that I have personally is that I think things have to be done in a set way. Like, that's that's a massive cock block for me in terms of my progression. I get so set, and that's a military thing. I get so set on something that has to run a set way that I don't look at things at a different angle, or I overthink the process. And I have to go through a certain set routine to be able to come out of that the other end, to be more flexible in my learning and more flexible in my teaching. So don't stress. Like, and when we go through it next week, I'm sure it's going to be absolutely fine. So have you felt since we last spoke? Progressing well?
Oh, exactly the same. Totally really enjoying the process. Learning loads about myself more than anything. Again, Mrs. was happy, other than last Sunday when I cock blocked myself and made a fucking fool of myself. But made up for that on Monday. Ended up having midday at night, sorting everything out. Sweet.
Is she noticing a difference in you?
Oh, massively, mate. Like I say, the last time I said it, if she ever bumped into you, she's going to give you a massive cut.
That's good.
But yeah, I just like you say, just loving the process. I don't know, what else to see.
No, it's good. It's good to see, and I'm glad that you're. But one of the things for me is that great to see is when kids and families see the difference in people. That's what really that's what I really love to hear more than anything. Like, weight loss is weight loss, and it's great and all that for you. But I think the biggest thing is when people start noticing a difference in behaviour in their dads and their partners. I think that's what really stands out for me most in terms of the job. So it's good to hear, dude. I'll catch you next week when we go through that program.
See you later.
See you later, dude. Who's next? Oh yeah, Vic. Here we go, Victor. And then I come to you, Giles. I called you Giles last time.
Hello, James. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me well? How are you doing?
I hear you well. How are you? Where are you?
I'm actually in Luxembourg, so I'm one of your international candidates, let's say.
Brilliant.
So I have a lot of things to tell, so I'm struggling to organize and put into a structure, but I will do my best. So my journey with you goes back to quite long. I followed you on podcasts, on newsletters I receive regularly. That was very much encouraging me, but I haven't feel I took for a while before I signed up for a 5-day challenge. that was a game changer for me.
Yeah.
And basically that's where the moment when kicked off my morning routine and so on, and put me into the move, let's say. And after that, you know, I had again the problem. Okay, probably I can follow with myself, but then I fall back. So I said, that was the time in April when it was full confinement. It went well, but everything collapsed, and my daily structure with my family totally changed, because we were fully confined for almost 4 months here, and with the kids, I'm homeschooling, having the other one take care of, my wife teletravail, home working, myself as well. It was quite struggling to manage all this and still try to look after yourself. So in the beginning it worked, and then after it started to shift. But then I decided, okay, 28-day challenge is for me. It's if I don't change now, if I don't change the thing now, when I would do. And now now we are talking about the 90 days, the 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. I don't want to be in 50 when I will be 50 in 10 years, you know, that, okay, where did I wasted my time? So I must act now. And that's why I said, okay, I need to do things. What I still feel a bit overwhelmed, because I want to change everything in each pillar. And it's the things is okay on the fitness side. I think I'm quite okay. The routine goes well. The golden hours goes well. Even I have to say the good achievement that I somehow inspired my wife. She is now also waking up, although she is not at her early bird. So, but she said she will wake up earlier, and she does her own yoga in the morning. On one of the other days we did together in the morning. So it's really incredibly good. On the work as well, I see the difference. I'm more confident, I'm more structured, although still I need to look after myself and put myself in first. So not to let others trying to control my time, putting my agenda. So I'm consciously, even in Outlook, booking time for myself and for my duties. Otherwise I will let others come in, just 5 minutes, and in the 5 minutes turns out 30 minutes and so on. And in this way, you know, you're shifting, and you just realize, wow, fuck, it's already afternoon. You didn't do your task. You did everything else. You served everybody else. And then it's now time to go home, because you still want to keep the balance between work and family. Yeah. So let's say I'm on progress. I feel that, you know, it's not perfect. And that's the other things which in me is a problem, that I'm a bit perfectionist. So when it's not perfect, not everything lined up, I haven't thought through all the scenarios, all the options, then I may not do things, and I need to put this away. And I liked what you just said a little bit earlier as well. Jobs equal action. So don't put the think, because for myself, probably that's the one. When I start to think, I start to overthink, and like Kenny mentioned, after that I just procrastinate, and then I put things away which was for me, and everybody else goes first. So that's where I am, and I think I will definitely sign up for the mastermind, because I need this accountability. I need this, that I fine-tuned, and now things after the 5-day challenge, but I need to push harder and further to achieve where I want to be. It's also a little bit still foggy, let's say, on where I want to be. But as you said, that first we need to start, we need to create something. And after that, you know, when we have the, let's say, more or less the direction, then we will try to find the way there, while always adjusting. It's almost like when we are sailing, you have a point, okay, you want to go to this port. Obviously, you don't know exact which moves where you go, because the wind will blow you left and right, but you need to go that direction, and on the way you adjust where you go.
100%. And that's a really good analysis of yourself as well. And I think one of the biggest, and one thing I wrote down there was that need to be perfect, which is, again, one of the things that really affects my day, is the need for perfection in everything that we do. And that's something that I've been working on, trying to let go. And one of the things that I do and say to myself all the time is that it's fine as it is. It's fine. Like, I literally, when I overthink something, I just go, let it go. It's fine. Let it go. It's fine. And I now, as a coping mechanism, almost there's something when I'm starting to overthink, that something has to be absolutely perfect in the process. Is that I always think that people are looking from the outside in at me and thinking, my videos have got to be perfect. The content has got to be perfect. And quite often when I come off my show on Friday morning at a Rise to Thrive show, and I felt it was absolutely awful. I come off and I was like, that was not perfect. That was not perfect. And I go away and I think to myself, God almighty, I'm going to delete that and do it again. But actually, no one even notices half of the stuff that's going on there. It's just your own imperfections that you end up creating in your head. And then because they're in your head and you overthink it, you 10x those problems. And then actually you're starting to make up problems that are not even there. And then it creates a lot of emotional pain that you end up like stewing on. And it's a case of being able to snap out of that as quickly as possible, right? To be able to flow. We want to be in a flow state where we're able to adapt and overcome, that we're able to look at things and go, okay, that was a loss today, but I'm going to make sure that I chip away at that the next day. Does that make sense? So like if something doesn't, so for example, where you've given your time and your energy to somebody else, when actually that's valuable time for you, you know, like would you, if you had a handful of £20 notes, go start giving people money like that? We never would, right? But yet our time and our energy is more valuable than those £20 notes. We would never do that. So if you have that mentality with your time and your energy, like every time you say, oh yeah, sure, I do this for you, or sure, yeah, just niggle into that. Imagine yourself giving those £20 notes to those people. And I'm not saying you shouldn't help people out, but there's a time and a place, and learning to say no and prioritize that time and get better with that will help you progress and grow. And the only way we do that is by being in the process and learning. Learn, grow, repeat, learn, grow, repeat all the time, right? Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And actually that's what I saw already between the first week and the second week, that, you know, I saw a kind of shift in my planning. So for example, at work as well, in the first week, I tried to do the thing. This week, I could already say no. And I, as you said now, I didn't give out my time to others. It doesn't mean that I didn't help. But obviously I said first me, and after that, when it comes, I will try to help you as well, because otherwise it's not happening. My task list is not going to be less. It's going to remain the same while others are progressing. 100%. The other things is I still have difficulties is prioritizing my private stuff, because, you know, we have 24 hours. So sometimes I feel I would like to stop the time, you know, to catch up with all the things, because here all the contents are brilliant, and the modules as well. And for me, need a bit of time to think through, because I just don't want to put there something just to have something. Yeah. I want to work it out and think through, take the time to make sure that, you know, that plan, that new routine or the 90 days plan is worked out, so I can account myself for it, and continue like that. So also is one of the things in work works well. Private is the things that with my wife, with the kids, to focus on them, because the balance that finishing work 5:30 every day, it works well. But then, you know, is being with them as well is fine. But taking time also to organize things for the family, to plan a bit further, to make surprises, for example, for the wife. Yeah. You not necessarily want to do it at 5:30, and then when you want to be with them, and then you are a bit soaked off your brain. So I need to more put some time during the day as well in for these kind of things.
So I think when you do things like that, one of the tactics that you can use, and I haven't got my stuff here with me, but it's like, think about those things the week before. So like when I do my planning for the following week, I start it on Thursdays. So Thursdays I do my brain dump, Friday I do my timetable, and that allows me to, you know what we do, like I've put it up this morning for you guys, that's your map of the week. So putting more thought and brain dumping on the journals allows you to think about those things. Okay, so like Wednesday night, I'm going to surprise the family. We're going to pick them up. We're going to go and have a picnic on the beach or in the woods or at the picnic table. Like factor these things in on your weekly planning rather than thinking about them last minute. Like I said to Kenny, it's repetition of how you do this. And the more detail you can put in your weekly plan, the more that you can fit in there. And I don't mean overload yourself, but in terms of having an idea about your mission, your action plan for the week will allow you to be in much more control. So you don't actually have to think about it. You just got to go, okay, what's the plan? So the night before of every day, what's the plan tomorrow? A, B, C, D, E, boom, done. I know what's going on. When you wake up in the morning, you do your golden routine. Before you walk out the day, let me just reconfirm the day. Boom, 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 done. That way, that stops us overthinking. We know we've got everything that we wanted to say written down, follow the plan. Like I said with James, sometimes that daily plan has to be shifted, and Kenny, those things have to be shifted around. But if there's some clarity about where the day's heading, it's better than not having this at all and just going, what the fuck's happening today? Where am I doing this? Where am I doing that? Because then that's what creates that stress. And then up here, you suddenly feel like you're going to explode. And then you grab the bottle, start drinking at night or start eating, and those negative coping mechanisms come in.
Yes, thank you. Absolutely makes sense. So appreciate a lot for all the contents and for all the guys as well sharing all this, because it's great to share things, the experience that everybody, each of us has, and then pick from those as well. So I appreciate it. And I'm happy to be here in the Brotherhood. So thank you guys.
I'm happy to have you here, brother. Thank you very much. Thank you, dude. All from Europe as well. I love it. Okay, who's next? Yeah, got you. Giles. Giles.
That's all right.
That's Mrs. about that, and she said I was a fuckwit for saying that last week.
No, I still haven't forgiven my parents for calling me that, so I might change myself to Steve or something one day.
How's things?
Yeah, going well. I think since we last spoke, well, I've been focusing on the morning a bit more, and prior to this, I've generally been liked a bit of a lion, so it's been quite nice going out, before 7 and being a bit empowered by being out and about, running or walking early in the morning, and sort of like it's almost like a bit of a secret when you bump into other people and you go, oh, he knows that it's like, it's good to be out at this time rather than, staying in bed. So,
you give each other that eye, don't you? It's like man eye. You walk past people down my promenade and we do like the man eye. It's like,
all right. Well, luckily I'm near the countryside, so I don't really want to be sort of giving eyes to men in strange. But yeah, I definitely get the point. But and I think what you just mentioned there to Victor in terms of the focusing for the week and then the writing down those 3 priorities, that's been really helpful. I think I said last week I'm still on furlough from work, so sometimes having a bit of day-to-day direction is missing. But that kind of just knowing what the 3 things I have to get through, and if it is occasionally I'm doing a bit of work or some personal development stuff, just writing that down and focusing on that on a daily basis has been very useful. So that's been great. And I think similar to some of the other guys mentioned that the 10-year plan, one thing, the 90 days, it's just filling in the gaps. I think that's what my next priority is. So but yeah, that's
that just takes a little bit of thought process, and hopefully you've got a little bit more clarity on like how to go about that and not overthinking it, just in the direction that you want to be heading, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. I think the things, some of the guys on the WhatsApp group have been talking about, challenging themselves, sort of, I guess, physical things like I think the fan dancer mentioned. Most of my goals have been a bit kind of fluffy and not specific, so I'm trying to think of maybe some things to do, that are actually achievable goals, in time or something that's a bit, always quite challenging. I think, as you mentioned. I've never done that before, so.
But you learn about yourself as well. Remember, like I said, I've already mentioned, just cementing what you've already learned is sometimes enough for your first 90 days. Okay, based on everything that I've seen lads doing in the past, trying to do too much too soon. Like, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this to you guys, but it's the adrenaline effect. Now, when you first start this course, every single person usually goes, oh my God, I'm glad to be on this course. I'm ready to go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. 2 weeks later, I just can't keep I've just lost that motivation, that drive. Do you know what I mean? So we go like, poof, like, yes, change. And then we slump. And then we slump, and then we're down. So there's nothing wrong with just having the progression where it's just gently going up. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's being in control of those emotions and the thought of being excited about changing something. It's just understanding that when you understand that the mission doesn't end for the next 20 to 30, 40, 50 years, is that you understand that it doesn't have to be hard and impactful like by October. You just need to have moved forward, feel like you're in control, have consistency and a form of clarity. And that's sometimes more than when we've ever had. When we just need certainty in an uncertain world. And when we find structure amongst the chaos of the world, we tend to feel a lot more fulfilled in life, and we tend to feel like we're achieving. So for those guys, fan dance is like something they want to crack on with. For you, it might be just the case, I just want to run 10K. Like, I'm going to run 10K in 3 years. Like, do you know what I mean? So put it into perspective, what works for you, and sometimes not being easily influenced by what other people want, because every single man on here, every man in the mastermind has a different interpretation of what you want or what you think you're capable of, you know. And if you want to be pushed, then I could quite easily turn around to you and say, right, okay, I want you to run a marathon by Christmas. And you could do it. You could run a marathon in 4 weeks if your life depended on it. So your limitations are only what you set them, but there's nothing wrong with steady progression.
Yeah, no, that sounds spot on. So yeah, all good so far. So yeah,
good man. Good. Thanks for coming on.
No problem.
Who's next? Robert, how are you?
Yeah, not bad at all. I've had a very busy week. Basically, we're going on about expectation versus conditioning. This is a major thing for me. I'm finding that my expectation and conditioning are starting to come into line a bit more. I'm finding that at the moment I'm doing the couch to 5K. I'm doing that at least 3 times a week. I'm aiming for 4 to 5. What I'm doing with that is I'm finding that actually my diary is I'm starting to tick more off in my diary that was on my expectation list for my conditioning. But I've also found that the more you work at it, the more you realise actually that that these things are achievable, but you need to streamline them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So what it is I've just written down a couple of bullet points on regards to how to get the most out of my JB planner. So I was going to ask you if there was any particular areas that you could give me tips and pointers on developing reference points, basically.
So you using the planner?
Yeah, just to make it more effective, because at the moment I'm putting down. I've streamlined it a bit more each week. I'm like I say, I'm ticking off more, and I'm probably putting a bit less down. Does that make sense?
The planner, dude. So the planner is designed for you to, in terms of your reference pointing. So at the start of each week, there's a section where you create your weekly plan, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you want to try and achieve for the end of the week. So so bearing in mind that on that weekly planner, you have to write down your 90-day goals every single time. And the reason I put that down in the planner is because most people will write down what they want to achieve in 90 days. And 3 days later, they can't even fucking remember what that is. So idea of writing that down is that every single week you are in line with the long-term goal that you're trying to achieve, right? The next page has been specifically designed to say what's your number 1 and 2 priorities in each of those 4 pillars. They are your reference points to achieve for the week. So in theory, what you're doing, there are 12 weekly outcomes. There are 12 priority weekly outcomes that you have to achieve, okay, by the end of the 12 weeks. If you hit every single one of those 12-week reference points, in theory, you should have 12 micro wins that create the overall win in terms of you set yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that really puts it in perspective. That's fantastic. Actually, I'm really happy with that. Straight talking, I'd like to say just how fucking amazed I am what I've done this week. I've fit in quite a lot more than I even anticipated. So I'm really happy about that.
So Robert, the thing with you that I wanted to say to you is that don't slip into the need to overtrain, because when you start saying to me, I'm training 5 days a week, I want to train twice a month, like that's when you start spiraling out of control. That's when it becomes very unmotivating for yourself. And that's when injuries happen. If you get injured, that tends to have a huge impact on people's mentality. So just don't get too excited too early. Be able to like streamline this out, be able to manage what you're doing, because you like, not just you, but everyone can get super excited and we get carried away with our own personal development, right?
Yeah, that makes total and utter clarity. That makes real sense on that. The other thing I'd like to go over is being blunt. Have you got any tips and pointers on? Because at the moment, I am actually taking control a lot more with both my social and my works.
Yeah.
I've emailed big bosses, etc. If I'm not happy with my work-life balance, which has been helping considerably.
Yeah.
Do you have any additional sort of tips and pointers on how to kind of put your own agenda on, work and
Just
all
write
the
down
rest?
what you feel.
Write down what you feel. Okay, so more brain dumping.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just write down what you feel, dude. Like literally, that's it. There's that,
Yeah.
Be honest
Brilliant.
with yourself. I'm honest in everything that I like to say. I just like to say it to the point. And I think you will always have a confliction with people that don't like what you say or don't like you. And, there will be plenty of them out there for you and me and everyone else, right? But that's why we don't waste our time and energy on that. We just focus purely on ourselves and what we're trying to achieve, right?
And the next thing is make sure you're doing and ensure it's done. I'm finding that first thing I do in the morning now, I'm starting to get into some better habits. First thing I do is look around my house and go, shit, that's not done. Right, crack on with it, rather than kind of, I'll take 5 minutes, and I'm finding that really useful, because I come home and it's fuck all to do, other than looking out for what I need to do, which is fantastic.
Do you remember me talking to Kenny about that, how to overcome that procrastination? So that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Brilliant. And the next thing regarding your planner as well, refining checkpoints. You've gone over this a little bit, obviously. I've just realised you have done, but is there any way you can earmark certain checkpoints for your 12 things you want to achieve? Like, do you just do a checkpoint like you said?
Review system. You mean like a review?
Yeah, like a
that's
system.
So in the diary, that's what the weekly review's for. So that's what you're doing. You're reviewing what you've done and those checkpoints that you've set yourself. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does entirely. Fantastic. And the blank book you're going on about earlier. How's the best way of kind of getting what you write down in your blank book to streamline it and then translate it to your planner? You've probably gone over that as well without me realising. But
what do you mean?
So earlier you had a blank book and you said you got you guys to look at the blank book and write down exactly where they're at and what they want to do in the next few weeks. Do you just write
in terms of brain dumping for the 90-day plan?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
So that's so all that is just writing down. It's just so everything that you think about, it's just really writing that and jotting that down on paper. So instead of just kind of so the way that our brains work, something will be highlighted and come up, and then we forget what that thing was.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of collectively writing. Like if you break down your paper into 4 sections and you put it into the 4 pillars, it's just writing things that you would love to achieve, right? Things that you would like to have as an outcome. Yeah. And then kind of going, okay, what are the most important ones to me? And then choosing them as your 90-day plan.
Excellent. I'm really, really pleased with that. And Ulrico, about the late operator. When you really, really you're properly done in, I find Friday is my day where I'm not fucked, but I'm feeling it a lot more on a Friday than any other day. How do you give tips and pointers to yourself to motivate yourself with the mission?
What's the alternative if you didn't show up?
Simple, effective, fantastic.
What is it? So what is it? You tell me, Robert. What's the alternative if you didn't show up?
If I didn't show up, number one, I'd end up less healthy. The alternative for me, I don't even want to think about it, to be honest, JB.
So mate, yesterday, Thursday, I was wrecked, shattered, okay? And there are some things that I just don't want to do, but you're just walking around like a zombie doing them because you know they've got to be done. But the feeling of having known that you've done them, rather than putting them off and thinking, I've got to catch up with that tomorrow, it attracts me more to get it done. Than having to think, oh my God, I don't want to do that the next day. Just getting it done. And once you've done it, you're like, I'm really pleased I did that. Like yesterday, I didn't have the mental capacity to write another 500 words for my next book. I literally didn't want to do it. Literally had to force myself up into my room, just get 500 words done. and it's better than doing nothing. And it's a case, if I didn't do it, I would have lost that momentum. So I think, you know, I always say to myself, what's the momentum? What's the alternative? To not showing up, to not being here? Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty much my questions done. But I'd just like to say, again, I'm very grateful, and I'm looking into Mastermind. I'm wondering whether I should complete another 28 days at least, or whether I should just jump.
You, mate.
No,
it won't benefit. So why don't you just message Louisa?
Yeah.
Go into the app for the week and just have a look around. You don't have to sign up. That's the thing. You just experience it and see what it's like, so you know what it's like. Doing the 28 days and doing the same things that you already know.
Yeah.
It doesn't move you forwards. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. I'll message Louisa and
it doesn't matter if you don't want to do it, mate. Like, there's no pressure to do it. You know enough now. Like, like if it wasn't for you, it's not for you. So don't feel the pressure that you have to do it. Okay.
Yeah. I'm definitely wanting to, you know, down the line for sure, because I mean, it's the only way I'm going to 10x myself. But I'm gonna talk to Louisa, clarify my thoughts, and ensure that I can get the best out of it. Basically,
drop her a message. She'll be in the office Monday.
Lovely. I'll give her a message on Monday. Cheers very much.
Well done, mate. Keep up the good work, Robert.
Oh, Char, very much, and I'm so proud of all the guys here, and accountability buddy wise, myself and Lee are constantly talking to each other, making sure we're doing what we're meant to be doing. So just a shout out to Lee to say thanks very much.
Well done, Lee. All right, good lad, Robert. Well done, mate.
Come on, mate.
Who's next? Let's go. Let's do it, Andy. Boo. I'm flying here. How you doing?
Hello, not bad. How are you?
I'm great. Great. How's things been?
Yeah, not too bad. It's been really interesting listening to what everyone else has got to say. I've actually written down a fair bit since the start of this, and sort of a few realizations. I'd never thought about the term PD junkie before, but I think I fall into that bracket as well. So I've already put something in place where I've just the last couple of audiobooks or books that I've done, I've just kind of thought back and jotted down a few reflections on things that I've taken from it, because there were things, you know, there were realizations along the way, and you know, that you maybe just don't realize or make any specific note of them, I suppose. So I think that's definitely something I'm gonna continue doing.
Great, brilliant. And so in terms of like what's next, have you thought about your 90 days and what you want to achieve?
Yeah, so I think I was getting a bit worried about the goals, as you maybe saw things I was posting, because I think there's that element of that was kind of my problem. My youngest is just making an appearance. I always kind of had goals, you know, for many years. So, you know, spent quite a long time studying at university, and obviously that's quite a structured thing where you have timelines to meet and you have exams to study for, and that's a year on year thing. And then there was always a goal. It was getting to the end of the degree, then went to do a second degree, and it was getting to the end of that. And then the career that I went into was very structured in terms of, you know, there was always the next step to meet. And then really what happened to me, you know, it would have been realization was a few years ago. I got to the very end of all of that, and I was kind of like, you know, great, fantastic, what an achievement, right, now what? And, you know, really kind of suffered from that, and had, you know, was really burned out at the end of a decade and beyond of really, really hard work to get to that point, and then just going, right, I've got absolutely no idea what to do now, and, you know, quite rudderless. You know, I'd even kind of realizations like, you know, I was 122 kilos, and, you know, I'd had to go and see the doctor about palpitations and all this kind of stuff, and my blood pressure was a bit high, and I was like, you know, I've got, you know, I had one kid and another one on the way. I was like, no, I've got to do something about this, and things kind of slowly fell into place. And then I got into a job that was, you know, going to be my long-term job, and I enjoy the job, but then I was starting to get a lot of issues with, you know, my confidence and doubting myself and comparing myself to other people. And I think, you know, just on reflection, I think that links into this lack of direction and goals, really just undermines your confidence in yourself. So I've definitely
that you struggle slightly. It sounds slightly there that you've gone through different chapters and there's an identity crisis in terms of knowing exactly who you are, where you're going, what you want out of life. And I find this a lot. Having worked with many men now, I tend to call it the identity crisis, where we just don't know quite who we are. And because we have that, that's when we start comparing with others and we start looking at what other people are doing, because we kind of look at them and we think, I want to be like that. No, I want to be like that. No, I want to be like that. Oh, how can you have the confidence? And I think when we're confident in our own skin and our own identity, that's when we have that self-reassurance about, I'm good enough in this job. I'm good enough in this family. I'm good enough on the path that I'm on. And I think it's reconnecting to that, right? And that was one of the thought processes of putting this program together, was to create that identity. You know, along the way, many of you will have a slightly, whether it's a permanent or temporary one yet, a slightly altered identity in some way, shape or form in terms of the direction that you're heading right now. And that's by the things you've picked up, listening to other guys, actions, things I've said, things you've heard. So I think in terms of like moving forward those 90 days, it's really cementing who you are and what you want and what makes you happy and fulfilled and content in your own skin, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I think when I was looking at the 90-day thing again last night, because I'd kind of done this a couple of times. So when I did my mastermind application, obviously you have to put in what are your goals over the next 90 days. So that kind of challenged me at the time. But then I was like, well, actually, I'd done this once before in the vision module, and that was probably the first time I had done something like that. And that was, you start to, then maybe the self-doubt starts to kick in again about your goals as well. So but actually then they're kind of parallel things in my brain that actually, once I had done the vision thing, it took a few days to kind of do it. Start at 10 years, work your way back, and you can kind of see how things can fit together. And then actually you're then working towards something, and then start to get that feeling, I guess, going back years of, right, so you're starting to build that structure again in your life, and things are maybe starting to fall into place a little bit. And I think the other thing I need to work out, I've always been someone, I'm quite all or nothing, but I always want to do everything as well. So it's not a very good combination, being all or nothing and wanting to do everything. So you end up moving from thing to thing to thing. And that was always the thing with health as well. So, I'm a bit heavy, right, I'll go all in on this and I'll lose a bit of weight, and then it peters out after a month or two, and then you're back to square one again within a few months. So it's just, like you say, not expecting that sudden change, just building on something and moving up.
It's being patient as well. And I think a lot of that element comes into being impatient about where you want to be. Like, I want to be that person. It's like the person that wants to earn $1 million, and once he's earned $1 million, he wants to earn 10, and then he wants to earn 100, and it's consistently never stops, right? It never changes. You constantly keep pushing all the time. But I think being happy and content is something for you to work on over those next 90 days, and being happy.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, Andy.
Great, thanks.
Who's next? Let's go. How do I get rid of that? Gilly, let's do it. He's under pressure. He's under pressure. There you go, you're in. Say something. Gilly, is your volume up on your computer? I can't hear you. Can anyone else hear him? Or was it just me? You can't hear him. Use sign language, Gilly. Gilly, just a question, because you can hear me. Thumbs up or down? Thumbs up or down, Gilly? Did you work on the alcohol thing that we spoke about when we spoke last time? You did. And is it better? It's better. Good lad. Okay. Are you happy, Gilly? Good. Are you planning for the next 90 days? Okay. Who wants to come on? Mark B. Let's do it. Mark B, and then I'll come to you, Steve. Mark, can you hear me? Is it me then? Can you guys hear me? Mark, I can't hear you. It might be something to do with your earphones plugged into your thing. Is it maybe? Right, let me go and try with Steve, and then I'll come back to see if we can figure it out. Steve, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you, mate. Yeah, perfect. Right, Mark, have a look at that, and Gilly, see if you can figure it out, and then I'll come to you guys. How's it going?
Yeah, not so bad. Not so bad. I'm not too sure about this this microphone, so yeah, if it causes, huh? Yeah. So there's a couple of there's 2 or 3 points that have come up today in this session that have kind of resonated with me. Yeah, so there's like the giving out time to solve other people's problems, which is something I can never say no to very easily. The point that you just made there about identity crisis, very much, very much, it seemed very pertinent. You get to your 40s and you've done all your professional qualifications and things like that, and you've got your family, you've got your kids, you've got your house, the mortgage is paying down, and you think, well, yeah,
now what?
What next? Now what? Yeah. But then, I mean, the biggest issue I'm still having with, I'm doing quite well on the physical fitness and the exercise and the mornings, and getting a lot out of that. My problem area is, it's always been in the business, in the work. Part of not saying no to other people and giving out too much time, but also losing the energy level to keep cracking on all day.
Steve, are you there? You're frozen. Jay, you go if you're going to go, babe. Sure. Yeah, go, it's fine. Yeah. Okay, she's just doing her makeup. That's fine. 2 secs, guys. Just give me a second. I won't be a second.
How you going, chaps?
Steve, can you hear me? Right, I'll come back to Steve. Gilly, did you figure it out? No, Mike's fucked. Where is my other man who had mic issues? Well, there he is. Steve's back. All right, here we go. We lost you, Steve.
Yeah.
You back?
Yeah, I know. The bloody internet just breaks down, doesn't it?
Got COVID.
Right. So, where was that? I was in the middle of saying, right, okay. So if I think about Friday, yesterday, end of the week. So, reasonably tired. Yeah, I've been up every morning, done my exercises. But Friday in the office, I had myself to get on with my work. To get on with my project that I need to get on with.
Yeah.
And then I completely failed to use that time effectively.
What do you think that was?
I don't know. Yeah, I can't block myself. It's a self
identity thing.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's almost a self-harming thing.
Yeah, no, I get it. Did you know? Yeah. So when you went into that project, did you know exactly what you needed to do? So if you're honest, did you have complete clarity in knowing exactly what you had to do in the stages you had to do that task in? You did. Okay. So it is a pattern. So if you think
it's a mental block.
It is. And if you think about a lot of the stuff that we've spoken about in terms of the pattern. So when I spoke about with Kenny in terms of his procrastination, that pattern that Kenny has built up, and not only Kenny, but the other people that are in here. But when we think of an action, we automatically think we'll put it off. So you think about like going all the way back to college or university, whenever you used to do your assignments or you have to do your dissertation or things like that, like a lot of students will go and do that on the last night, okay? Because they're getting pissed up. I put it off, and that deadline comes closer. And so I know so many students who in the last 2-3 days just end up trying to get that last minute, right? That doesn't stop, but that then continues through life and how we do anything. Love ya. Have a good drive. Bye. And you end up pushing and pushing and pushing. So we get into the habit and the pattern of putting off that work. You're like, here, I've got all this time. Oh, but what's going on here? Like, and then we end up straight on here. And then if I just give mum a call, just have a quick chat. Let's have a chat on here for 20 minutes or talking to your mate for 20 minutes. And then, do you know what have I got planned here for the week? And then we're doing everything but the task at hand and what we need to do.
And the stupid thing is that, when I was at university, college and stuff, when you've got tasks that, have you frozen?
No,
you've just been still.
Super still.
When I've got assignments to do, and when you've got classes to do, and you've got to hand in that piece of stuff by that date, I was always on schedule.
Yeah,
I was never the last minute, the last minute nightly overnight cram it.
Yeah.
But when once I haven't got somebody else's schedule to work to, when I got my schedule to work to.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. 100%.
A mental block it.
So I think it's a case of looking at how you can break it down. I think it also comes as part of the process. I've seen a big difference in you in terms of like your identity and the way you work. From even now, just talking to you, you're so much calmer and in more control than we were last time, like 2 weeks ago. And if you think about the development of you from the 5-day, I think when we continue that process, and we've talked about this byproduct of having one section of our life grow and other sections grow with it naturally in the course of time, is that because you've identified it and you know it, it's almost like you can recognize it now, so that when you're sitting there, you go, just do the work, just do, like you have this conversation in your head, and it's a case of maybe just like putting these and all other distractions away from you. So like it's like turning that and putting it on airplane mode. So when I do my Kindle zone, I put mine on do not disturb. So the only people who can get hold of me are the kids and the kids' mum and Jemima if they need me. That's it. And I just turn the face down like that, and I go and put it on the other side of the room, and I literally put it away from me. So it's creating that environment so that only on this desk here is your laptop or your desktop or whatever you're working from. So there is zero distractions. And sometimes you can just write a big note on here saying, get the shit done. And what you're trying to do is break the neurological brainwaves that are going through here, resisting the urge to do it. And it's like anything. It's like these last 3 weeks that you've been doing. How you do anything is how you do anything. So as soon as you do this, just for a couple of weeks, you're in the habit. You come in, the kill zone, the routine. Boom, boom, other side of the room. Drink of water, laptop, get that shit done. Boom. Let's get to 10:30. Let's look forward to a coffee break.
Yeah. How long? I mean, this habit is, I've been struggling with this for 10 years. So it's very, very ingrained.
Yeah.
Now, I think about the money I could have made and the mortgage I could have paid off if I got on with it.
100%.
But it's very, very ingrained. How friggin' long do we think?
So right.
To break the habit.
Why you must change this? Why must you change it?
Because, well, I mean, that's the thing. I've survived for all this time.
Okay.
And
Are you happy surviving?
No.
So I got the impression of you that I got the impression of you when we spoke last that you're an entrepreneur that wants more out of his business.
No, I want more out of my life.
Okay.
Really. The business is just the way to pay for it.
Okay, that's fine. So, but if you had more business, you could probably do more with your life, hire more people, bring them in. You could step out of the office and actually have more freedom.
Yeah.
So that's an avenue maybe not quite explored. So is it? Did you say you run an accountancy?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So in theory, if you were able to build up your practice, and let's say you worked Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off, would that make a difference to your life? It would, right? So in order to do that, you must show up to do the jobs that you've got to do to build the revenue, to be able to afford the staff, to replace you, so that you come in and do your priority work on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and then to get the now what in life, we now can do more on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if we feel like it, once every 6 weeks, we can go away on a long weekend somewhere with the family, and we can do different stuff, or we can afford to take up a hobby and do something, or do whatever you want to do that you like doing.
Yeah. It's the getting more holidays in. It's the getting more traveling in.
There we go. So if that's your thing, and that's traveling, so why must I show up here? I must show up here because my vision is that I want to travel more, is that I want to see more of the world, that I want to do this with my family. So I've got to be bringing the money in to hire A, B, and C to take over me on Thursday and Friday and run an establishment. And then suddenly you go from suddenly go from being an employee of a business to suddenly being a business owner, and actually understanding the freedom that the business owner becomes. And that sends a spark of excitement into you. That's something you haven't thought about. And you're like, right, this is what I'm going to create. This is what I did 3 years ago. I run a fitness boot camp locally that required me to be present in the mornings, in the afternoons, in the evenings. And I fell out of love with it big time, because I was missing out on the little one. I was missing out on the kids. I felt like I had shackles. I was shackled to the wall. And instead of doing that, I risked everything and went online and decided to work with the people that I wanted to work with, which was guys. That's what I was drawn to. And this job, I could do this job in Thailand. I could do this job in Bali. I could do it in America. I could do it anywhere in the world. And I could still deliver the same results. And that's the vision I had 3 years ago. And that's sometimes some of the guys were asking, how do you show up when you don't feel like it? Well, it's because when my boy, who's 12 now, finishes college, and he's 18, I want to take the family traveling for 6 months to a year. And I want to be able to do the job, but raise the brand and help people in all the countries that we go to. And that's the mission. So when I sit down there and I think to myself, like, I really don't want to sit there and write this book. I really don't want to sit down there and write this new program. I think about the bigger picture, and it gets me excited and motivated. And I think and this is something I did with the guys on my round table. I visualized that day that we go to catch the plane, and we get on the plane to go to our first trip, and all of the hard work and graft, sweat and blood and tears that have happened in the last 6 years to get to that point will make that one moment utterly worth it. And I think sometimes when we can connect with that visual, that can really inspire us to suddenly go, I'm doing this for a much bigger purpose than just doing the job.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I really need to get that visualization of that mission, of that goal, of where we're going to travel.
Yeah.
The boat we're going to hire and the scuba diving that we're going to do around the Grenadines.
There you go.
Yeah.
And it creates excitement. You can see it in your face already, smiling about it, visualizing, thinking about it. You're like, bang, it makes all of those sessions in front of the computer well worth it.
Yeah.
And it does. And then suddenly you fall in love with the drive, and then it becomes the process, and the process becomes the rocket fuel to show up and go boom, and let's go for this. Do you know what I mean? And when people say, how do you get so motivated when you don't feel like it? I think about that first trip of going up to that airport for our first trip away. Me, all 3 kids, Jemima, on that trip, having worked 9 years trying to build a brand and enjoying it for 6 months.
Great.
Okay, does that make sense? And I can and build on that 110%. And that's the stuff, because I know you've spoken to Lou, and that's the stuff if you're coming into the mastermind, it's like, in the next 90 days, how do I start that process? How do I make that happen?
Yeah.
Good man.
Cheers.
Right, let's try Mark again. See how we go. Are you right? You sure? Mark,
hey, James.
Mark, just give me a sec. I've just got to. She's pressed play on a thing. 2 seconds. What do you want to watch? Okay. I won't be long, sweetheart. Okay, sorry, dude.
I've just had the same conversation with my 3-year-old.
I'm in it. I'm all alone now. She's gone. She's swanning off for the weekend, and it's just us two.
Fun and games.
How are you doing?
Really good. I think after we last spoke, I think I don't know, second week I went down a bit, wasn't showing up. And at the end of that week, I was like, what the fuck? And I don't know, the realization was that I need to show up for myself. And that really gave me a kick up the arse. And I think, there's all kinds of feelings coming up, a bit of shame, bit of, I was like, I wasn't showing up. And then I thought, fuck it, I'm doing this for myself.
Good.
And we discussed this last time. I don't want to be the person who's not achieved anything in 20 years time or 10 years time. And that really, got me back into action, caught up.
Good.
And really showed up this week to everything. So I'm really proud of myself for doing that.
Yeah,
but it's just, across the board, spoken to the other guys about procrastination, easily get distracted and, avoid tasks. But, I've really started to crack on with that and just, I can't remember if it was on the 5-day or somebody had a rule, it may have been yourself about, if there's a 2-minute task, just do it.
That's right.
Yeah. And I just start doing stuff like that, it just helps clear everything.
Yeah, it does.
The structure and routine every week. And also, really help get me focused on what I'm doing. It's easy for me to faff and, just waste time.
Yeah.
So that's really helped, and just, even, I've been getting to bed much better time. Hasn't been perfect, but, sometimes I think, okay, even though I got to bed late, I'm still getting up at 5 o'clock.
It doesn't need to be perfect, my man. Like, it doesn't need to be perfect. Do you know what I mean? So, like, roll with it. And I think the more you can have that adaptive mentality, the less harsher you'll be on yourself.
Yeah. And, what's been great, having the structure during the week. Hold on, 3-year-olds just turn up. I'll shut the door. Bye. Having the structure in the week, then the weekends, just having time for myself, family and wife. I think that's really been great, for our relationship. It's really transformed our relationship in terms of being able to spend more time, particularly on a Sunday. We just, I said to the wife, look, Sunday we do nothing. It's just family. No one else. We don't go out anywhere, or we might go out just as family locally, but nothing full on. Yeah. And that's just been great for our relationship.
Brilliant.
Because I think I've been trying to be too full on every day of the week. And I think, where's my downtime? Yeah. And it's been great to focus on that. It's just given me consistency and clarity. It's been great. Absolutely great.
Brilliant.
Really feel like I'm accelerating.
Yeah, you can hear it in your voice and your body language as well, which is really good and feeling focused. So do you have some idea about what the direction you're heading?
Yeah, I think part of me is like trying to achieve too much in 90 days. And I think, trying to cut back a bit. And I listened to another podcast and somebody said, instead of trying to get 100 friends in a year or, read 100 books or whatever, just get three friends or 3, books and do them in detail.
Yeah.
And, so I picked three books.
3 friends.
Yeah, 3 friends, but 3, yeah. But I picked 3 books and, I've broken through, I've got tons of books behind me, but I've only read half of them. And I've broken through solid audio books. I seem to listen to audio, and I'm going to get a learning journal as well. I've been doing podcasts when I've been walking, but I don't, it's really positive stuff. And it's really great when I'm walking to listen to podcasts. Because otherwise my mind goes into all the negative shit and starts thinking about all the crap.
Yeah.
So listening to the positive stuff's really great, but I need to embed that learning.
Yeah.
Where I think, I need to listen to it when I'm like just sitting still.
Let's
with
have a little learning journal. Like literally, when you write down those points, you'll be like, you reconfirm everything that you're interpreting what people are saying into your own language.
Yep.
You're right. You're interpreting what other people are saying into your own language and what it means to you and how that benefits you.
Yeah.
And that creates growth, right? And you can take those points and, I often say like all these little things like, if it takes you 2 minutes to do it. How you do anything is how you do anything, 1% a day. These are like clear standout statements that really mean something to people, like, and they understand it and it's easy to remember. So when you're having an awful day, you just go, oh, I've managed to work out, I've got my 1% a day. And, the minimum is 1% a day. Cool. So I think, don't worry about being hard on yourself. You're soon going to know whether you've pushed too hard or whether you haven't done enough. And that's where after the first checkpoint, you readjust the path and you go again. It's a learning process, right? And
I think I think something you said to one of the other guys, doesn't need to be perfect. This 90 day, don't overthink it.
No.
And I think, there's a, something in my head trying to get it perfect.
Yeah.
As opposed to just getting some shit down.
Yeah.
Some good shit and say, okay, I'm going to achieve that. And it may be, I achieve it, within, a month, or it may be, more of a 6 month or whatever. But it's just like, just get something down and I can tweak it.
Do you know what you can do as well? And this is for everybody, is that once you've done a couple of 90 days, so the reason I always say to people when they come in a mastermind, like there's a 6 month commitment, is because in 6 months, I know that there's going to be tremendous growth in you in terms of what's going on in here. There will still be bad days and you'll still be like, all the guys in there still do, but they come back to the same principles every single time. Once you've done a couple of 90 days, then we start stretching the legs. Then we start stretching the capabilities. Then I start turning around to you and saying, you run a marathon, you run 50. Like, do you know what I mean? That's when we do it. Like, not now, like just reconfirming some of the things you've learned in those 90 days, and when it comes to overthinking, think about the perspective of where you could be in a year rather than where you could be in 90 days.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, sweet, nice. Thanks for coming on, Mark.
No, thank you, James. It's a great program. Really love it.
Brilliant. Good man. Enjoy the weekend with the little one.
You too.
2 seconds. Are you all right, sweet? Okay, nearly done. Okay, anyone else? Are we all good? Oh yeah, Daniel, let's do it.
I'm mute.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Cool.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, just about.
Okay. Oh, okay. I'm talking to this one. Is that better?
A little. Yeah, it's good. I can hear you though. It's all good. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. Yeah.
That's better. Yeah, that's better.
Good to meet you and the guys.
See, you're busy there doing all your morning routine there, getting the house sorted.
Yeah, I've done all the housework this morning, so that's good.
Were you out for a walk at the start of this?
Yeah, the dog needed a poo. So yeah, I went for just a little walk in the field.
So how you doing? How's things?
Well, thanks for picking me up. I was in a terrible place 3 weeks back. 3 weeks ago, I was awful.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a lot better, thank you. You really got me out of the muck. I had a few slip-ups lately, just with the drinking in the evenings, a bit too regular. Well, every night really, but better. My fitness is good, really good. Like, I'm okay. I mean, I'm swimming loads. Ever since I started, I joined the football team. I go to circuit training on a Wednesday. I've been open water swimming. My fitness is fine. It's the transition point where I fail. When I get in after work, 4 or 5 o'clock, that's when I crack the beer, and then it just messes up for the next day. So,
are you at home alone, Daniel? Or have you got family there?
No, I'm single, so I'm on my own, no kids or nothing.
So the easiest way to combat this, mate, if it's just you living by yourself, is not to have it in the house.
Okay, yeah.
Just like you could even be brave now and go and pour it all down a sink in front of us all.
Oh, I've got nothing in now. Or have I? Oh God, really?
Do it.
Oh God.
Do it.
I'm just going to go and buy some more though later.
No, why are you? Why? Why do you need to drink?
I don't know. I just feel like it relaxes me after work. Like I'm a carpenter, so I work quite hard. I'm physical all the time, and then as soon as I get home, I just want to relax, and I just feel like.
Why can't you relax? Why can't you relax without drink?
I don't know.
When was the last time you tried? For a 3-week period, non-stop without booze. When was the last time you went 3 weeks without booze, trying to relax?
Oh, I did do 6 weeks last year.
Okay.
And yeah, I felt amazing.
So why did you start drinking again?
I don't know.
You do know.
I feel the urge for it.
Okay. Why do you feel the urge?
Maybe I'm unhappy. I'm not sure.
Okay. Why are you unhappy?
Probably because I'm drinking.
Okay. And why does the drinking make you feel unhappy?
No, it makes me feel happy at the time and makes me feel unhappy in the morning.
So it gives you a quick win.
It gives me a quick win, quick relax.
Quick relax, quick win.
I struggle to sleep without having a few beers at night time.
Okay. So when was the last time you've not had a drink?
Oh. That's a long time ago.
Okay. And how many drinks do you have a night?
I was really bad when you got hold of you. I was terrible. I was doing 8 cans because of the breakup. Hurt me quite bad.
Okay.
I was drinking 8 cans a day and a bottle of wine, and it was getting earlier and earlier every day.
Okay.
But I'm down to, since the last 3 weeks, I'm down to I've got it down to 4 cans with eating. As long as I have my dinner, I'm okay.
Okay, good lads.
It's when I don't eat.
When was the breakup?
That was about 3 months ago.
Okay. Was it just you two or was the kids?
No, just me, no kids.
How long were you together?
2 years, but it was never a great relationship. It was always off and on.
Okay. Who left who?
Well, she left me a few times, and then in the end, during the COVID thing, with no money and a couple of weeks off work, and then me having a beer, then her smoking some weed and stuff, I ended up going, look, there's no point in you being here, you might as well go. And as soon as she went, I was just like, oh, that's the worst decision I've ever made.
It sounds like a toxic relationship, Daniel.
It was, yeah, I know, it was. But
why is it the worst decision you've made?
Pardon?
Why is it the worst decision you've made if it was toxic?
It's not. I did love her and I did adore her. And
so I think the reason that you drink every night is almost to forget what's going on, mate, with that relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. So, what have you got to look forward to for the rest of the year?
Triathlons.
Good. When's the next one?
I haven't signed up. I want to do half Ironman ASAP, and I want to do a full maybe next year.
Okay.
But I've got all my sports, which I love.
What sports?
Well, I just started playing football, but I really shouldn't be playing football because I've already done my knee. But cycling, mountain biking, road biking, swimming, kite surfing, which is brilliant. Okay. Yeah, I've got plenty of sports. I'm all good with that.
Okay. What makes you happy, Daniel?
Being with friends and doing my sports.
Okay,
basically,
when was the last time you were with your friends?
Yesterday. I go at the cricket club quite regularly now in the summertime, so I always see them up there for a few beers.
You ever tell them about the upset you'll go through with the split?
I've been really open with everybody, actually. Yeah, everybody's been really supportive, and they were the guys that, when I mentioned you and everything, my mate was just like, just do it, Dan, just do it.
Yeah.
Get on with it. Okay. So my friends and family have been awesome.
Okay, so in terms of your ex now, you accepted that it's over?
Sort of, yeah. It's just the last couple of days, I suppose.
Good. Okay. I think that's what you have to do to move forwards, dude. I know it's really hard, mate.
Yeah, I know.
Because if you're gonna move forwards with your happiness, dude, I'm going to move away. And you know it was toxic.
Yeah, I know.
Do you think you deserve to be happy?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
I don't see why not either.
I've always been a happy sort of person.
I can tell. You're not showing that now, though, Daniel.
I know. Yeah, sorry, guys.
This is good to talk. This is good talk. Yeah. A lot of the questions that I ask you are just things that you probably are not answering yourself.
Yeah, I've realised it now. I've realised that I am. The last couple of days, it's the first time I've cried in a little while. I think it's just talking about it now has just brought it back a little bit.
It's good. Dan, you're going to be much clearer in your mind if you stay off that drink.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like I promise you. Like I can almost see a little bit of where I was with you. You know, when I left my wife because I fucked up, I messed up, but couldn't deal with the repercussions of that. So I completely left myself completely empty and lonely, and I would just drink. But very much like you, I threw myself into training. And what I begun to realize is I begin to raise the level of self-awareness in terms of what the drink was doing to me, to my body, to my mental stability, and realized that it was a toxic, obviously, but a toxic relationship. And whenever I felt pain, that equaled alcohol. So whenever I felt emotional pain or mental pain, that was the trigger to go, oh, I'm just going to numb that. Yeah. I'm just going to numb that by having a drink and allow me to have that relationships where I fall into this romantic type of scenario where life isn't that bad, or I'm going to be really optimistic. And when I used to drink, I used to have this optimism about how amazing my life was going to be and how it wasn't really that bad. And do you know what I mean? And then I'd wake up the next morning and be like, straight back to it. And it was a quick fix. It was a quick kick. And you already know that.
Yeah.
And you already know that. And I think what you have to do is keep saying to yourself, like, do I really need this? Is this really going to help? Now, I don't believe you can just quit. I don't believe that, like, you can just suddenly go. It's like when you're on meds. You have to wean off them. So my challenge to you, dude, is very much that it's very much that of, I want you to cut it down to just 2 tins a night.
Okay.
Is that achievable?
Yeah.
And then we do that for the next 2 weeks. What are your plans in terms of the mastermind?
I want to get on it. I really do. A little bit of a stretch financially, but I can do it.
Daniel, this is what I do. I will pay for you to have the first month so you can get your shit together.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Brilliant. Thank you.
Okay. So I will tell Louisa that. What's your second name, Daniel?
Carter.
Okay. But that is on the condition that by the end of, so that's going to be 4 weeks plus this week, that's 5 weeks. By the end of those 5 weeks, you're not drinking more than 4 tins a week.
4 tins a week?
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's what we're going to get down to.
Okay. What if I go to the cricket club? Do I just get a Coke or what?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
If you really want it, dude. If you really want it, then that's the sacrifices that you'll make, mate.
Okay, that's brilliant.
Yeah?
Okay, that could really help me. I could do that.
Virtual fist bump.
Cheers, dude.
All right.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So we start that. Don't go out tonight thinking I'm going to get fucking wasted tonight, and Sunday thinking I start my. You start like now. Okay.
Okay.
No more than 2 tins a night.
So 2 tins a day. That's it.
That's it. And in your morning accountability.
Okay.
In your morning, you'll tag me every morning, Monday to Friday, with how many tins you had, and don't lie to me.
Okay.
Deal?
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, super.
Right. Okay, brilliant.
Thank you.
Nice one. All right, okay. Well done, Dan. Anyone else? Okay, we're done. Thanks for sticking on to the end. Daniel, get your head up. Right, guys, thanks for listening. Catch you soon.